Happening by Frame Barton.
Goal.
It's a goal. No.
Yes, it is. Boots in towards goal. He's got Hudson. Centering kick for Brownless. Sets himself. Ambulance marked it.
You watch the fight, Doug. I'll watch the footy.
Lock it. Left foot. Look at that big pack of players. Great mark to Royce Hart.
Compton picks up the ball, slams it goal, and puts it through.
Sheldon picks it up. Runs it on open goal. Who's there? Shimelbush and Bremner. In comes Egan Knights. Takes the magnificent mark right over the top.
On ABC Radio and ABC Grandstand Digital.
Oh, there's the siren.
This is Vintage Grandstand.
It's a pleasure to have your company on Vintage Grandstand, where we dig deep into the ABC's extensive archives and pull out a classic match from the past and chat to some of the key participants in it. We'll be broadcasting the radio commentary from the 77 Grand Final for you today, the drawn Grand Final. So a 77 vintage for you. North Melbourne and Collingwood had to come back the following week and do it all again after the first instalment finished in a draw. Alistair Nicholson with you. I'll be bringing you the action this afternoon and chatting to some of those key players with Matt Clinch. G'day, Clinchy.
Hello, Al, and good afternoon to all our listeners. We had a bit of fun last week, didn't we, replaying the 1971 Grand Final. Listen to the old commentary, to chat to some of the players that participated in that game, and it does bring back a whole heap of different memories to... The game was just played differently back then, and some of the stories that come out from David Parkin remembering Don Scott calling the team back in at three-quarter time, and then Don Scott debating as to exactly what took place, but sort of agreeing that it did, and the safari suit was one of the highlights for me for Don Scott. So hopefully today we'll get a few more of those sort of stories. There'd only been one drawn grand final before this, and that was 1948. There was one that followed, of course, in 2010. So it's a bit of VFL, AFL history. In 1977, Collingwood, North Melbourne, two great sides. Of course, Collingwood finished on top of the ladder that season, 18 wins and 4 losses. North Melbourne were third, 15 wins and 7 losses. And the fact that we came back the following week, it's estimated to earn about $500,000 for Channel 7, which is big money back then, and was the highest daytime television audience attendance. So a bit of history there as well.
Mark McClure is also with us. Sellers, when we spoke to you last week, it was a grand final from an era when you were just about to embark on your VFL career. Well, 77... You were right, entrenched then. In fact, Carlton missed the final series that year only narrowly. We're in the 5 going into the last round. Lost to Footscray at the Western Oval. And South Melbourne overran North Melbourne to jump into the top 5 at your expense. Of course, plenty of success was still to come your way. Great to see you today.
And a change of coach comes with it. A change of coach came with that because we lost that game, and the next year Ian Stewart turned up in 1978. To start the year, and he departed round 7.
And then Jezza took over.
And then there was some success. Well, we just, if it's not right, you've got to move them on.
And move quickly.
And I think that's one of they actually can't sit there and let things fester. So, but I watched this game, and I went to the game, and I watched Arnold Bryce kick 7 points in the draw. 7 goals, 2. 7 points, 2 out of bounds in the full, and 2 fell short from 35 metres. He was atrocious in that game, and he was filthy on himself. And one of the things I do know, and Xavier Tanner, of course, as well, was a star in this game as well, and the other games coming through. I love what he did. But one thing I did notice, and I talked to some of the guys during the week, I talked to Arnold, and I talked to Tiger Croswell. They talk about the coaches. And Barassi, for mine, he was a button pusher. He was annoying. He'd annoy them, and there was always an angst between Bridus and Croswell with Barras. But that was the way he coached. He tried to get the best out of you, and he knew when to push you to the right spot, and all of a sudden you'd respond. If you didn't respond, you'd go. He was one of those sort of guys. And Brent Croswell was always in trouble with him. Maybe because of some of his off-field stuff, but more than his on-field stuff. But apart from that, he was an interesting coach. And if you ever listen to his record, he goes to Carlton in 66. They win the premiership 68. They lose 79. They win the grand final. So this is the grand final: 68, 69, 70, 74, 75. That's when he went to North. He went to North in 72. They started in the finals, never won a final before, hardly won a final, never won a premiership until they got there. 74, they get beat by Richmond. 75, they win. 76, they're in. 77, they're in 2. And then in 78, they win. They're again. So that's an incredible record when you think about the coaching. That's up there with Alan Jeans, and that's up there with what we had last week with
John Kennedy
as well
last week.
And then you got
Hafey and Barassi this week.
And then you got Hafey. He goes 67, 69, 73, 74, all wins. He gets to Collingwood. Well, no one can win at Collingwood at this stage of their life. You know, they're actually struggling. 77, they get beaten. 79, they get beaten. 80, 81. But 8 premierships, 8 grand finals, almost in a 10-year period. It's extraordinary.
And you look at Tom Hafey, so he goes to Collingwood. The team that wins the wooden spoon in 1976 is in a grand final in 1977 and gets itself into a winning position before that match is drawn.
And I'll tell you why. Because he has a set plan. Get yourself as fit as you possibly can. He runs you into the ground, I'm telling you. He gets you into a situation where you are the basic fitness stuff. They have a simple plan of kick it long and crowd that area and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. So it's not flash, it's not fancy, but it's effective.
You mentioned Brent Croswell. He was a big game player and sort of spoke about, you could give me a wet day at the Whitten Oval, I wasn't worth a cracker. And he was like Hercules on the big stage at the MCG when he needed to be. That's not the exact quote. But he didn't have a great game that day. In fact, in the drawn grand final, he had to be moved on to Peter Moore, who's going to be part of our program today. Peter Moore was absolutely on fire and Croswell went to full back. Billy Picken is going to join us on the program today as well, a player who you had many duels with, 79 being one of them, the grand final of 1979.
Yep.
We're also going to speak with Ken Montgomery, who had more possessions than any other player on the ground in that drawn grand final. And we're also going to be speaking with a true great of the North Melbourne Football Club, played over 300 games, was captain and coach. We'll be speaking to Wayne Schimmelbusch as well. So that's to come on Vintage Grandstand, with highlights, of course, and extended highlights of the match commentary from the ABC archives.
And for us, we're looking forward to the chance to chat to Smokey Dawson, of course, as it was 3LO back in the days where it was listened to around the country, and some of the characters you hear in the call. Doug Bigelow has a very distinctive style, Al, is probably the best way I can say in his special comments. Straight to the point. Often ums and ahs on air as he's trying to make sense of it. And listen right at the very start of the call as Smokey's trying to do the intro there. There's a bit of a cough and taking place in the background. So maybe not quite the mic etiquette of turning it on and off when you're not on air.
Well, Smokey's going to join us very shortly, and I'm looking forward to his reflections on what it was like to work with someone like Doug Bigelow, who had very firm views on the game. He's a little bit like, I guess, Sellers in a way, is a modern-day version of Doug Bigelow with his preparedness to go hard at times.
I think I got more hair.
Well, unleash Sellers on a couple of those players that he would know well from the era, and it's part of the fun that we'll have on Vintage Grandstand. As much as we're reflecting on the great matches and listening to the ABC call from back in the day, Clark Hansen, part of the call team for this broadcast as well, it's a great opportunity to get Sellers to engage with a few of these players from his era, and there are many stories to be told. In fact, Sellers, you played on Brent Croswell. We're not speaking to Brent today, but you managed to have a chat to him during the week. And tell us the story about the day he lined up on you and wanted to get a little bit physical.
Yeah, well, I lived in a house with a guy called Leo Brooks, who was, when I was young, first came in. I lived with the Marnie family and then moved out. Now, Leo was an old guy who lived in Carlton, was a mad Carlton supporter, and he had Brent Croswell there, Mike Fitzpatrick was there, I'd lived there, I think there was another couple of guys lived there as well. And we'd all lived in the same house. He was a great guy, and knockabout, all those sorts of things. But Brent and I were pretty close. Well, we knew each other pretty well and all those sorts of things. So I turn up to North Melbourne to Arden Street one day. Brent Croswell's playing centre-half back. And he comes up to me and he goes, "How you going?" You know, he's having a bit of half a chat. He says, "Don't get offended, but I'm going to start to mess you up in a second." I said, "Oh, what's going on?" "What do you mean?" So he starts grabbing me by the neck and rolling me around and throwing me on the floor, and he says, I said, "What are you actually doing?" He said, "Your mum and dad will be watching you right now. Just relax. Everything's okay." And away, and I got up and I started pushing him back and forward like that. And he goes, "You see? Now your mum and dad are watching you."
So he tried to start a little bit of fisticuffs with you because he knew the TV cameras would come onto you.
And onto him. That's more the point. He's an interesting guy, very intelligent. Took him a while to get his university degrees. He was there for 12 years to get a master's degree or something, I don't know. But he had a good time. He was a good fella and an unusual guy, intelligent, very intelligent, and what a great player in big games. Unbelievable player. There was one game there when Baker kicked 6, if you remember.
Yep.
Brass told him, "Get away. Don't go near it." go and stand on the boundary. So he had to take his player off to the boundary. He stood there for a whole game looking at people, talking to people. He's a very interesting guy. Very interesting.
You'll hear quite a bit of Phil Baker in our call, which we're about to bring you. The 1977 VFL Grand Final between Collingwood and North Melbourne. This is, of course, the drawn Grand Final. Matt Clinch, Al Nicholson and Mark McClure. And we'd love to hear from you as well, what memories you've got of that day and, of course, of that Grand Final. 0437 774 774. We touched on the man who leads up the coverage in which we're going to play you, Graham Smokey Dawson, who can join us on Vintage Grandstand. Smokey, thanks for your time. We might. Got you there.
You got me now.
Got you now. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
A pleasure, Matt, and what an honour to be with such distinguished gentlemen as yourself, Mr. Nicholson, and the great Mr. McClure.
I wouldn't say that, Smokey.
A fellow like me on.
Oh, it's brilliant to have you, Smokey. You have a much-loved and cherished voice on the ABC, and I'm sure people listening would be thrilled to hear your voice back on the ABC airwaves again.
They'll probably say, that silly old fella's still going. And yes, I am. But interesting to hear your early chat that, as Sellers certainly would be aware, the collie wobbles were starting to wobble, because if you go back through the records, boys, they lost in 64 to Melbourne by 4 points. They lost to St Kilda's only premiership in 66 by 1 point. And then a little fella I know introduced that famous saying, the most famous margin in football history, when they were up by 44 points at half-time and managed to lose the 1970 Grand Final. So they won 2 premierships in the 50s when they were pretty much rank outsiders, but then had looked like, but didn't win one. And 77, as you touched on, an unbelievable performance, because their captain of their previous premiership side, Murray Wiedemann, had coached them in 76 to their first ever wooden spoon. And somehow or other, as Sellers mentioned, what a record Tommy Hafey had at Richmond, 4 premierships in his 11 seasons, and then they give him the sack. And he goes to Collingwood and takes them from 12th to first on the ladder. That was unheard of, and a brilliant performance by Tommy. But North, well, Hawthorn smashed them. It was the old final 5 days in the qualifying final.
Yes.
So I was thinking, how good's this? And the big game, and probably, you haven't mentioned it yet, boys, but something that probably did cost Collingwood that premiership was the fact that fabulous Phil Carman, one of the true stars of the game, was rubbed out for 2 weeks after the second semi-final, when the Magpies beat the Hawks by a couple of points in an absolute thriller at the G, because they played both the finals. They played 2 finals the first 2 weeks on the same day, on Saturday afternoon. One out at Waverley and one at the MCG. And I think, unfortunately, I was out at Waverley watching North Melbourne and Richmond play in the first semi when Collingwood beat Hawthorn by the 2 points. Fabulous got 2 weeks, and he couldn't play in either the grand final or the replay. And that, you just think.
Tommy Hafey, he felt that he was blamed by Tom Hafey for Collingwood not winning the premiership on the back of that suspension, Smokey, wasn't he? And that was after he struck Michael Tuck in that final.
Tucky was the recipient of his little blow, and it was obvious. No fancy Dan television replays like you see 48 different camera angles these days, but it did show up clearly, and it was one of those things. I mean, John Coleman copped 4 weeks and missed the grand final. Missed a final series basically in the early 50s, and Phil missed a couple of grand finals in 77, Tommy would have thought, if fabulous Phil had been out there, I reckon there's a fair chance the Magpies might have got over the line.
He kicked 4 goals in the game before, in the Hawthorn game. And he's a star, and I remember him when he first arrived, Smoker. When he first arrived, he was a big awe about him, and he was a bit of a loose cannon, though, as we well know.
Yeah, well, were talking about Brent before.
Well, there you go.
I reckon they would be the loosest cannons. You could put them on a pedestal and almost be a dead eight.
Tell us about the broadcast that day, Smokey. How many grand finals had you done prior to the 77 drawn grand final? We've mentioned Doug Bigelow and Clark Hansen were part of the broadcast team. Give us a bit of a feel for the broadcast that day.
It is a special day. There's obviously no. That was number 4 for me, Al. I actually did see my first grand final as a tiny little boy in 1952 when Geelong beat Collingwood. Wasn't that good? And then Collingwood won the next year and got revenge. But you build yourself up, and I hope no one from the MCC is listening, but it doesn't matter now. But in those days, we still had. The 6 games were played on a Saturday afternoon, so you had a full around the ground service. It was fantastic. All the boys, Scooter Cogman, Greg Brown, Errol Hutchison, Serge Silvani, all those boys were in our group, Laurie Considine, and I'd save a few seats out the front of we had the only enclosed box up in the top of the old MCC pavilion, because I might have mentioned it to you before, the pigeons used to poop on Brian Johnston's hair when he came out to cover the head. He was bald, no hair, and Alan McGilvray and company said, "We've got to do something about there we go." So we built the enclosed. Said, "Yeah, the ABC can have the enclosed box there all the time for the cricket as well as the footy." So it was a bit of a tight squeeze, but so I saved a few seats in front. I don't know how I managed to do that. And what I also used to do for those for the grand final was bring a couple of eskies full of stubbies or cans for the boys to have a drink after the game, just as a little group.
Did they ever start before?
More you're going, Sellers?
No, I don't think so. I think there's a fair bit of discipline in the team, but it certainly evaporated as soon as we finished our on-air commitments. So you built yourself up. There's nothing like it. I mean, I still love it, and the only time for me that it got a little bit more difficult was if the Hawks were playing, because as a passionate Hawthorn supporter, you are emotionally involved, but most times you say may the better team win, and away you go. So yeah, it was certainly a day to remember.
Smokey, you saw a lot of Collingwood in that era. What was wrong with them? Why did they not compete when it came to the final game?
That's a bloody good question, Sellers, because they were there for so long. This was a really interesting game because it was tight at half time. I think North were a couple of points up, and then North didn't kick a goal in either the second or third quarters. They hardly touched the ball, and Collingwood got away to basically a 27-point lead it was at three-quarter time, and you think, well, I can remember I saw the 44 grand final, 70 grand final with a 44-point margin with my late father, who was quite a passionate Carlton supporter, and he wanted to go home at half-time. I said, don't you dare go home.
They kicked 9-22 though. Smoke it's in the draw. They kicked 9-22 to 10-16, and I remember going to the game myself as a young player. I played in those days, and I went to the game to watch it because I'm interested in watching a grand final and seeing what happens and do all that sort of stuff. I thought they were certainties to win the replay. North, they had so many shots on goal. Arnold Brightest had kicked 7 points. No goals.
Exactly. There was no doubt that they were going to win the replay, and I've spoken to a couple of the North boys this week, as you boys obviously have as well, and it was pretty common knowledge back then that before in the week between the draw and the replay, Barras eased up. He said, right, we don't have to do too much. You're fit, fresh. Let's keep yourselves fresh. Whereas Tommy kept up his running the boys into the ground, and they played. And I mean,
that's what he does.
Both physically and emotionally. What if you played a grand final and it's a draw, and you're going, oh, you can see the boys on the ground slump. what's going on? It's a bit like a few of my around the grounds boys said, what do we do now? I said, don't throw your tickets away. We're coming back next week because there's a replay.
Don't give too much away, Smokey. We'll hear that in the call in just a moment. Just in summing up, can you tell us what it was like to work with Doug Bigelow, who's going to be a prominent part of the audio that our listeners will hear today?
Absolute legend. We obviously became great mates, as you do. It's a bit of a bonding, but he certainly was dry, droll. I'd be screaming, that's champagne football! And he'd just turn around and say, yes, it was French. and things like that, and you just say, Doug, don't ever lose it. And I'll never forget, the one thing I'll never forgive him for, bless his cotton-picking socks up there, Doug, please never forgive you, in the 1984 grand final, because he was a mad bomber and they hadn't won for 19 years, and as a Hawk, we had him everywhere at three-quarter time and then got smashed in the last quarter. And I think it was Roger Merritt kicked the goal that was obviously going to be the sealer, and he jumped up out of his seat and elbowed me in the nose, nearly knocked me out. And I just said, Big O, 4 weeks for elbowing Dawson. So he laughed and said, oh, yeah, you probably deserve it.
Smokey, one other I wanted to ask you. You worked with 3LO for over 18 years. To work with the great Alan McGilvray calling cricket, what was one or two of the lessons he passed on to you?
Yes, a very, very good question, Matty. And he said to me, I think it would have been before the first Test broadcast, which was quite interesting. It was actually the last of the New Year Test before Melbourne became Boxing Day against New Zealand in 1973. And, ladies, if you're listening, I was a child prodigy. He said, son, just remember, you are broadcasting to a blind person who can't see a thing. Tell them exactly what's going on, and you can never give the score too often on the radio, which is a very good point, and I say that to any young commentators today. You can't ever give the score too often, and I do get a little frustrated if I'm listening to footy or cricket, and I'll say, hey, what's the score? Tell me what the score is. So there you go.
Some good advice. Smokey, great to catch up. We're looking forward to playing out the grand final, and you're going to feature in it prominently. Enjoy your afternoon, and looking forward to it.
I hope the switchboard doesn't run and you blokes get the sack and say, bring Smokey Dawson back to Dawson. Because you blokes just keep doing what you're doing because you're doing a great job, and look forward to seeing you all at the footy, hopefully sooner rather than later again.
On you, Smokey.
Cheers, boys.
Graham Smokey Dawson joining us on Vintage Grandstand. I hadn't thought about that, Al. It might put us out of a job by playing some of these old grand finals, but we're going to have a bit of fun anyway. So Smokey was with the ABC for over 18 years. He commentated footy and cricket, was part of the centenary test that took place in 1977 between Australia and England. So some very memorable moments broadcasted on the national broadcaster. Should we kick off the first quarter? Let's take you there. Back to the MCG. North Melbourne taking on Collingwood. As we mentioned, Clark Anson and Smokey Dawson are your commentators. Doug Bigelow in the experts' chair. Here's the 1977 first quarter grand final.
There's the siren. Here we go. The 77 grand final. The bounce by Ian Robinson. Baker goes into the back of Thompson, and a free kick to the Collingwood vice-captain. And now Baker runs off to the North Melbourne forward zone as the kick by Thompson's towards half forward. Sutton up high, couldn't hold the mark. He's picked up Kink. He goes in hard after the ball, and he'll get a free kick wide of centre half back. Sutton, who's playing on Kink. Gumbleton has picked up more. The 77 grand final in the first minute. Sutton kicks the ball to the members' wing. He's looking for Ick. Over the top is Pickin.
Right mark.
Pickin is tagging Ick. It's the move we thought might happen. Ireland has picked up Blight. Picking over the top of Ick on the members' wing. Drives the Magpies back into attack. A beautiful spiral punt to centre half forward. It's all North Melbourne, and Carlton has taken the mark, or was it Keenan? It's going to be awarded to Keenan, although Carlton was the front man. Oh, he goes for a short pass, looking for Ick again. Punched away by Pickin. Close to the boundary line as Alves comes in. Taps the ball along, but it's the boundary line is too close, and it's over for a throw in. 1 minute gone to the grand final. Knocked down by Moore. Oh, it's a high tackle to Collingwood. No free kick. It comes out of the pack. Picked up by King. He screws it back over the shoulder. Knocked away there by Sutton. Good hand pass back to Sutton. He threads his way through the pack, drives the ball back in towards the centre. Tanner's the chance, and he takes the mark under very strong pressure from Magro. Good strong mark by Tanner, running the same way as the ball. Magro on his mark in the centre circle. Tanner drives it towards centre half forward. Too far. Gott goes up, knocks the ball away from Croswell, overruns it. Comes back towards Gott. He's under plenty of pressure. Balls the tall play on. Grabbed by Croswell. He tries to get out of the pack. Comes out towards Ireland. He burst his way through. A hand pass to Manasseh, who clears with his left boot back towards the members' wing. Dench in front of Dunn. Takes the mark. Plays on. Magnificent play. He runs up towards goal and kicks the goal. Oh, that is play of the year by Dench. Magnificent play. The North Melbourne skipper. He marked under extreme pressure. Played on. Ran through two players and kicked a 75-metre goal.
Great stuff. Great inspirational stuff. And it typifies the play of Dench. How did he find himself down there? I don't know.
He's playing at centre half back on Dunn, Doug.
Yes, well, it's very likely that this can happen with him, but he's a great player, and that was very good football by Dench, and he's renowned for this sort of performance. Inspirational stuff.
There's the bounce. North Melbourne by 4 points. Thompson gets the tap. It comes down towards Wayne Richardson. He can't get rid of the ball. Very scrambly play as Gordon's in there. Grabs the ball, but he was, no, the free kick's going to Carlton. He was obviously grabbed. We're not in possession of the football, and Carlton in the centre square, defensive side, kicks it wide to the centre half forward. Pack go up. Worthington punches it away there from Brightus. It's wide out on the half-back flank, outer side, picked up by Manasseh, but he can't get it. He was put down heavily there by Brightus. Coming in very strongly is Byrne, threads the hand pass across there to Brightus, comes back now. He's got on the half-forward flank. He's tackled solidly there by Wayne Richardson. Scrambly play. Out of the packet comes to Wearmouth, the racehorse. He breaks a tackle, comes through the centre, has a bounce, has another bounce as he comes through the centre now. Drives it up onto the half-forward line for Collingwood. The pack fly. Moore can't mark. Shaw's there. He tries to trap it but can't. Scrambly play. Montgomery's in there. Shaw taps it on. It's on the half-forward line for Collingwood, but there's a free kick going to North Melbourne. And it's Gumbleton. We're not in possession of the football. He'll take the free kick. He immediately plays on. Gets it across to Wells. Diagonal football to half-back flank. He immediately gets the lead from further afield and finds Dench. He takes it on his chest and plays on under a bit of pressure there from Shaw, but a good mark to Ick on the half-forward line, members side for North Melbourne. North Melbourne moving the ball well now as Ick comes in. A high drop punt kick. Looking up there into the forward pocket. Up go the pack. Nobody can mark it. Thompson in the front. Comes down to Baker, who shoots for goal. Yes, it's a goal to Baker, and that's North Melbourne's second. North Melbourne go to a lead of two. North Melbourne scored 2 goals, 12 points. Collingwood 2 behinds, 2 points, and we've played 10 minutes into the first term.
I think this is a tribute to North Melbourne's backline. It's played superbly because most of the attacking in the game has been done by Collingwood, but North Melbourne backline, as always, supreme to the task and doing very well indeed.
Do you think Baker is better when he doesn't have a deliberate shot, Doug, and has a snapshot like he did then?
I think it was indicated, Graham, and he must feel his confidence rising after that first attempt, and very successful attempt for North Melbourne.
11 minutes gone in the first term of the grand final. Collingwood 2 behinds, 2 points. Trail North Melbourne, who had 2 straight goals, 12 points. New football on the ground. Goal kickers for Collingwood, Dench and Baker. Dench and Baker. The ball back with umpire Robinson. Ian Robinson and John Sutcliffe officiating here in the 77 grand final. In comes Robinson to restart play. He bounces the football. Thompson and Keenan. Comes down towards Casson. Casson screws the ball forward for North Melbourne towards half forward. Riders punches it away from Ireland. Down towards Byrne. Burns hand pass Motherty gets a second go. Up towards Ick, who cleverly taps it on towards Tanner. Close to the boundary line. Tanner screws it back. Good looking kick offline. Through from behind. Beautiful screw back there by Tanner. Not far off the target, and North Melbourne go to 2 goals, 1-13, leading Collingwood 2 behinds, 2 points.
They're looking good, North Melbourne, aren't they? Their teamwork, I think, very evident early.
The start could be all important, Douglas. Kicked in by Worthington to the member side. Gordon a little tall, but Alves had the front position. Gets it down towards Casson. He plays it along in front of Magro. Free kick to Magro. Too high. Good decision by umpire Robinson.
Not missing much, and Magro doing well early for Collingwood.
Boring in, so's Tanner. Half back on the members' side. The kick by Magro's high towards the wing. Kinkin done there, so's Keenan. Keenan, 2 bites, couldn't hold it. Comes down towards Sutton, picked up by Dunn. Beautiful hand pass over his shoulder. Sends Kink up. Oh, he goes through Montgomery. Good play. In comes Tanner, covering plenty of territory. Gets a wide hand pass. Knocked on by Henshaw towards Blight. Blight gets it back towards Tanner. Oh, they're playing superbly, that North Melbourne defence, and Tanner finds Shimmerbush wide on the outer wing. And he gets it across towards Montgomery as Barham bears in, but Montgomery steps around him, plays it towards half forward. Ick's covering territory everywhere, and he's marked again. and he gets a hand pass across to Schimmelbusch. He gives it across to Briders in the practice wicket area. Down goes Schimmelbusch. Free kick to Schimmelbusch. Thompson roughed him up behind the play. And
Bad
it's a free
play,
kick
Len. Bad play.
As Doug Bigelow said, bad play by Thompson. He roughed him up well behind the play. And I think Tomo realised it's pretty desperate, Doug, because the start could be all important if North Melbourne get away early up towards full forward. It clears the head of the pack. Gordon comes in, tries to handle it, gets it across here towards Ireland. Ireland goes for a beautiful line touch kick, and he finds touch two at half back on the members' side. Cool, calm and calculating under pressure. North Melbourne 2 goals, 1-13. Collingwood 2 behinds, 2 points. 13 minutes gone first term.
There's the throw, and it's Blight and Thompson. Thompson beautifully to Wearmouth, and lovely tap out. Wearmouth on the member side wing, drives it around on the half-forward flank. Up goes Kink and Sutton. Nobody can get it, but roving the pack well is done. He fakes the hand pass, decides to have a run. He's in the clear now as he comes up on the half-forward line, drives for goal, and it's going to drop short into the goal square. Up goes Moore, punched away from him by Gumbleton. Moore's got it now. It's right in the goal square, picked up there by Anderson, who shoots for goal, and he's put it through. Well, a great Collingwood play then. They had the North Melbourne defence rattled, and it was all started there by Twiggy Dunn, and the first goal there to Collingwood. So let's check the scoreboard as we approach the 14-minute mark of the first term. North Melbourne 2-1-13, Collingwood 1-2-8.
Shrewd play by Anderson, but as you say, Clark, very good play by Dunn, who I thought indicated a very, very persistent and tough desire for the football then, and backed himself right in with judgment.
I think he had a look, saw it was Keenan, and said, I'll go round him and not try and get rid of it quickly. I think he really saw it was Keenan and said, right, I'm a chance to get round him, and he did. There's the bounce of the ball. Keenan and Thompson going again. Blight comes in and gets the hat hit away. In comes Schimmelbusch. Oh, the bounce is fickle this time for the North Melbourne. Comes out of the packets, punched away by Manasseh into open territory. Casson leads in the race for the ball. He falls. Oh, he gets a little slipper, but he cleverly gets it out. But Schimmelbusch got the fumbles. Down he goes. Collingwood go forward towards the half-forward line. Sutton and kick. It's tapped away. Carlton. He's still burning. He's away. He runs his full measure. Drives the ball back towards centre half forward. There's a how do you do behind play. The ball comes off the boot of Gordon. High towards that outer wing. Casson getting underneath it. And he's taken the mark, not paid. Oh, he's got plenty of attention. He goes down, and for the third time he must get a free kick.
That free kick was there.
My word, he was subjected to pressure. 15 metres max if he don't let it go. North Melbourne 2-1-13. Collingwood 1 goal, 2-8. 15 minutes gone, grand final. 15 metres now. Smothered off the boot, the kick. Over he said he went. And back he comes, and I reckon that was just about poetic justice.
I don't agree with you. I don't think the man on the mark moved one little bit. Finicky stuff by that umpire.
There's the kick by Casson to centre half forward. Blight. He's taken the mark, unopposed.
Too easily.
He's in the true centre half forward position. 75 metres out from goal. Malcolm Blight showing no signs of the knee injury he suffered last week. He comes in and punts for goal. Oh, it's a ball burster. But it's just offline and it's gone through from behind. So North Melbourne go to 2 goals, 2-14. Collingwood 1-2-8, 6 points the difference at the 16-minute mark. Goal kickers for North, Dench and Baker. Anderson for Collingwood.
Well, it was a lofty kick by Blight. I had a look at his kicking early in the game. He's had 2 or 3 kicks, and I did think that possibly he wasn't getting distance, but I don't think you could question his fitness after seeing that disposal.
The reliable Worthington kicks off towards Gordon. Elliot Mark, but sharking the pack well was Elves. His kick smothered by Magro. Only goes about 10 metres. Punch further afield by Tanner. It's on the half-forward line. It can't pick it up. Gordon comes through. In there also is Byrne. He falls on top of the ball, and umpire John Sutcliffe comes in and says, I'll bounce it half-forward line for North Melbourne. North Melbourne 2-2-14, Collingwood 1-2-8. Only a kick the difference in the opening of this 1977 grand final. There's the bounce. It goes towards Blight. He grabs it. Thompson hugs it to him, and John Sutcliffe says, look, I'll bounce it again, because Blight couldn't get rid of it as he ran into Thompson. There's the bounce once again. Blight and Thompson this time. Croswell's there. Thompson does it by himself. Gets it towards Wearmouth, but nicely sharked there by Henshaw. Puts it up into the Baker direction, and Baker has marked. Too strong and too tall for Worthington on that occasion. And it looks like North Melbourne could be changing their ruckman at full forward. Will that be right? Because Baker has been on the ball. Baker,
he has. He was early, but he quickly went to full forward.
Baker comes in now, directly in front. Can he get North Melbourne's third goal? We'll wait on it, yes. And it's his second. Phil Baker carrying on the good form from last week. Phil Baker, 2 goals. David Dent's 1. Goal kickers for Collingwood. Anderson 1.
Vintage Grandstand.
There's the throw, and a rather quick one. Up go the rucks. Nobody can get it. In there was Moore. Kicked out of the pack by Sutton. The ball's running free. Coming for it now is Elves. And he punches it further afield. Byrne running for it now. Nobody can pick it up as Ick comes in to pick it up now on the member side wing. He turns around. Nice shepherd there by Picken. Picken and Byrne having a little to do behind play, but it's up at the half-forward line now as Briders comes through. They're really throwing it up to Collingwood, North Melbourne, and the free kick going to Briders. He was grabbed. We're not in possession of the football. Briders will get the free kick right in front of the members' stand. Half-forward flank for North Melbourne. He comes in now, drop punt kick, screwing it round, trying to centre it towards centre half forward. Up goes Ick. Nobody can get it. Punched out of the pack. Punched further afield by Croswell, but there's nobody home as Worthington picks it up. Quick kick around the member side wing. Here's Cowton in front there. Tries to get it one hand, but he was held by Wayne Richardson, and it'll be John Cowton to have the free kick on the member side wing. There's the kick. It's a high one. Centre half forward. Once again, Baker out. Oh, nicely spoiled there by Worthing, but it comes to ground. Picked up by Byrne. His kick's high. Who's there? Barham. Coming in there is Casson. Hyde punches it away from Casson. It comes down there to Byrne. He'll have a shot for goal. And he's just missed. Oh, a golden opportunity for a goal there to North Melbourne at the 22-minute mark. But John Byrne didn't have his kicking boots on then.
Well, two Collingwood players didn't have their thinking caps on either. That's as I would see it. Because it was a 2-against-1 contest, and surely something could have been done better by the Collingwood defence.
Footy comes back, the scoreboard, 22 and a half minutes gone, first term, North Melbourne 3-3-21. Collingwood, 1 goal, 2-8, Worthington to kick in. He had his hands full a fortnight ago and did the job on Hudson. He's got Baker today, a beautiful 85-metre kick well into the centre square. Keenan in front, and he's marked. And as you said before, Doug, North Melbourne are playing in front of Collingwood at the moment. There's the kick by Keenan back towards full forward. Baker leads. Briders is marked. He's 35 metres out from goal. He can't pay the Baker. It's got to be Briders' mark.
Well, he is. I couldn't believe it.
That?
Well, it's not often I agree with you, but I would have thought that I would have thought that Briders had first purchase.
Interesting to see on the ABC replay tonight. In comes Baker. Drop punt for goal. Doesn't matter. He's put it right through the centre. His third goal in the first quarter.
Not a bad average for a man who kicked badly last week.
3 straight to Phil Baker.
Yeah,
how many kicks, Bruce Green? 3 kicks, 3 straight goals. North Melbourne 4-3-27. Collingwood 1-2-8. 23 minutes gone, first term.
Well, the defence is doing well, North Melbourne. It's shouldered every responsibility it's had to face. And of course, their forwards very, very effective indeed. The scoreboard indicates that. So you've got a perfectly functioning side with Schimmelbusch a clear winner in the middle, or on the centre wing, doing well. But Elves is playing his part well also.
Baker in ruck against Thompson. He gets the tap down nicely to Ick. Ick tries to punch it over his head, but scouting the pack brilliantly as Cable drives North Melbourne into attack. Up go the pack, punched out by Worthington. It comes down to Cassidy. He's at half forward. He's under a lot of pressure there from Magro and also Hyde. Play on, says the umpires. Pickett gets it, but he kicks it right to Tanner. He'll have a shot for goal, but he's offline and through for a behind. Very dangerous play there. As far as the Collingwood defence is concerned.
They look a little rattled, Collingwood, to me at this stage of the game. I know it's very, very early, but there's a lot more purpose and desire with North Melbourne.
You're right, Clark.
Absolute function.
Keenan is at full forward and Baker having a run on the ball.
4-4, North Melbourne 28, Collingwood 1-2-8. There's the kick out from Worthington. Nearly a mark there to Thompson over Elves. It comes off the pack, comes down to Gordon, who has a bounce, comes up to centre half back, drives a wonky old kick onto the wing position. Oh, nicely trapped there by Sutton. It looked like Wearmouth was going to pick it up, but picking it up nicely is Wayne Richardson. He centres the ball towards Max Richardson, punched away from him by Cowton, comes down to Magro. He's under a lot of pressure, quickly gets the boot to ball onto the half forward line. Henshaw can't pick it up, but Anderson's got a centre half forward now, drives the ball up into the forward pocket. Moore and Gumbleton, punched away by Moore and Gumbleton, but it comes right down there to a Collingwood player. It comes to Kink, tries to kick it over his shoulder, but it's over the line and out of bounds on the full for a free kick to North Melbourne. But what's going on there? There's a little to do.
Shaw's been reported.
And Montgomery's number has been taken. Of course, Shaw probably infringed against Montgomery, did he?
Yes,
right,
he did.
so it's the free kick and taking it is Sutton. No, it's coming back to Montgomery now.
Yep.
Montgomery.
The infringement took place, Clark.
Right in the last line of defence. Ray Shaw, that volatile little rover, doesn't want to do silly things. There's the kick from Montgomery, out of side. Up go the pack, and a good mark there to Baker, who's early burning. Gets a silly hand pass there to Cable, which put him under pressure. Comes back to Barham. Barham puts Collingwood into attack. It's on the half-forward line. Punched away by Sutton, that comes out to Dench. Dench in turn across to Henshaw. He puts it wide on the wing looking for Elves. Behind him is Gordon. Elves does it nicely to tap it back. He goes one way then the other. Threads the hand pass across to Montgomery. They've got the loose man going across to Blight. Blight comes up onto the half-forward line. Centres it up towards centre half-forward. Coming out was Brighters, but judging it nicely was Nasser. He kicks it into the centre of the ground. Done there, but he was rather laconic. Gets the hand pass towards Max Richardson, but Cowton was there to get the free kick. Cowton on the edge of the square.
Cowton, a star in his first term for North Melbourne. Punched the ball wide. Ick runs to it. Under plenty of pressure. Gordon's there. Comes down towards Blight. He's got the fumbles. A couple of Collingwood players looking at the man, not the ball. A hand pass from Gordon across to Thompson. He'll give it to Wearmouth. Oh, he plays it beautifully. He runs into a bit of trouble, draws a player. Hand pass to Magray, but he puts him under all sorts of pressure. And North Melbourne really pressurising. Down goes Wearmouth, and he'll get a free kick as he ran into the grandstand.
A little high, the tackle.
I thought so, a little crude. It's 4-4-28 North Melbourne. 1-2-8 Collingwood as Wearmouth punts the Maggies forward. They've played a minute and a half of time on, but Elves has dropped back and he's taken the mark on his chest, and he'll go. And he gets the hand pass to Gumbleton at half back on the members' side, and the North Melbourne defence playing magnificent football. Thompson's in the van. He goes over the top of Blight, but Blight's recovery is superb. He gets a long hand pass, but Picken intercepts. Picken's caught without the ball, and he'll get a free kick on the point of the square. 3 o'clock in Eastern Australia, the coverage of the grand final coming to you on ABC Radio. It's North Melbourne 4 goals, 4-28. Collingwood 1-2-8, 27 and a half minutes gone in the first term as Picken goes for a short pass. He finds Thompson. Thompson will run. He's got a little bit of room to move. He'll kick the ball with his left boot back in towards centre half forward. Lucks of fortune as he finds the skipper Max Richardson. Plays on well. Good shepherding by Shaw as he runs to centre half forward. He has a long shot. 2 out, Gumbleton and Moore. Neither can mark. Off hands. Through for behind. And it's Collingwood 1 goal, 3-9. Leading, trailing North Melbourne, who are 4-4-28, 19 points the difference. Almost quarter time in the grand final.
Daryl Sutton to do the kicking out for North Melbourne. He kicks out a nice drop punt kick around the outer side, looking there for Dench. Oh, nearly a mark there to Barham of Collingwood. Play on, says the umpire. Comes out of the pack towards captain Max Richardson. He turns around on the half-forward line, will shoot for goal. It's going to drop short. There's Gumbleton and Moore. Gumbleton behind, Moore in front, but it's off hands once again and through for yet another behind. Gumbleton doing an extremely good job on Peter Moore, who's the danger man up there in that forward pocket as far as North Melbourne is concerned.
I would have thought this game out well, North Melbourne, because he's the ideal type to be doing the job on Moore.
Sutton once again to kick out will favour that outer side. There it is, a flat punt kick up to the half-back line. Up goes plenty of players. Nobody can pick it up. Coming through very strongly there is Anderson. He'll shoot for goal. No, well, wait on it. No, it wasn't Anderson. It was Ricky Barham that was coming through, and Lux of fortune because Collingwood can't convert, and that's a behind there to Ricky Barham. So checking the scoreboard, North Melbourne 4-4-28, Collingwood 1-5-11, and we've played just on 27 minutes. A short kick from Sutton will find Cowton, who made good position there. North Melbourne now slowing play down.
Star of the quarter, Cowton.
Quick to play on. He's kick a little screw whiff. It comes off the side of the boot. Oh, good play by Baker. He thumps the ball on, but Ireland leads, but he overruns it. Grabbed by Blight, who's showing no sign of injury. A not particularly good kick by Blight. Wobbles up towards centre half forward, and it rides Picken into the ground. Free kick to Picken at centre half back for the Magpies. And I tell you what, Ick hasn't let him run at all so far. There's the kick by Picken from one edge of the square to the other. Up high, Baker couldn't hold the mark. Off hands to Wayne Richardson. Screws the ball forward. Chance here for Montgomery. Can he trap it? Yes, he does. Plays it beautifully. Will go for a short pass to Elves, who's loving his MCG, and he marks. He'll go for a short pass, and he'll find his captain Dench, and he marks on the members' wing. Dench quick to play on. Drives the ball right up the centre half forward. 2 out as Ick and Thompson and Picken, and Thompson takes the mark. It's not paid. Out comes Picken again. He gets ridden into the ground, and he'll get a free kick at half back on the members' side. 28 North Melbourne, 11 Collingwood as the kick by Picken. Goes back towards the centre. Up high was Sutton. He punched it away from Dunn. No one there. On the ground, Tanner can't get it out, but Cable goes after it. Gets the hand pass out the burn. In Chip Shaw. Wearmouth does it well. Thompson calls for the hand pass and gets it. He runs into the square from centre half back to centre half forward with a 65-metre left footer. Who's there? Thump down to Montgomery. Oh, this North Melbourne backline is superb. Back into the centre. Quarter time in the grand final, and North Melbourne are 4 goals, 4-28, leading Collingwood 1-5-11. The goal kickers for North Melbourne. Baker has 3, Dench 1, and for Collingwood, Anderson is their goal scorer.
Quarter time in the 1977 drawn grand final, as heard on Vintage Grandstand. Matt Clinch, Al Nicholson and Mark McClure with you. As you heard, North Melbourne on top, 4-4-28 to the Magpies, 1-5-11. A man, of course, who you heard mentioned in the call is Billy Picken. He played for Collingwood and also for the Sydney Swans, 240 games throughout his VFL career. He can join us on Vintage Grandstand. Billy, welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
What are your memories of the start of that match? It sounds like North were all over you.
Yeah, they were. If they had a kick straight, we'd have been in real trouble. I Googled the game, actually, and to have a look at it. Well, it wasn't real pleasant. But,
You started off all right in the game yourself, Billy. What are your memories of the build-up to that game? Because Collingwood had gone from this position where Tommy Hafey had come in, you'd finished last the year before, and he's got you all the way to the grand final in 77. What do you remember about the build-up to the match?
well, obviously grand finals is a big build-up. And we'd been down the year before, and Tommy came across from Richmond, and we had a fabulous season. I think we beat Hawthorn in the preliminary final, or in the final to play in the grand final. So, it was a huge build-up, but all grand finals are huge build-ups.
What was the key to turning around your form of 76 to make a grand final in 77? Can you speak to what Tommy Hafey was able to do with your group?
Well, it's a funny thing. Confidence is a big thing. In 76, we lost a lot of close games. We had a lot of injuries. And, when you're losing like that and playing and you're a bottom side, you just can't take a trick. But in 77, he came with a fresh approach. He was, had us fit. We didn't get a lot of injuries. And we had blokes like Peter Moore. They were great players. Rene King was a terrific player. They were in the prime of their careers, and there was others like Ricky Barham, Stan Magro. I think he played in the centre in that game. I mean, we just had things go our way, and look, winning grand finals, you do need a bit of luck, and we had a fair bit of luck during that year.
I'd like to ask you what happened on during the week after you drew the game. Everyone was sort of downtrodden at the end of the game, but what did Tommy do with you from that day on to the next one?
Well, fellas, we trained hard right through the year, and we trained pretty solidly again. We just didn't recover like we should have. But that's no reflection on Tommy. I mean, that was the way he coached, so you just went along with it. But it's a funny thing in playing in a drawn grand final. You build up to win or lose. You don't really put the option of drawn into the scenario. And we drew the game, and we just didn't recover.
Yeah, I know. I remember that, and they took 22 points in that game, and they had plenty of opportunities to sort of seal that game. And I thought that they may win, but then I know how Tommy trained you. We'll beat them. We'll be tougher. We'll be stronger. We'll last longer. And in the end, you actually need to be freshened up.
Yeah. Well, North Melbourne, they come out and they were the fresh side. Look, you've just had the first quarter of the game. If North Melbourne had have kicked straight, I mean, we'd have been in real trouble. And there probably would have been no drawn grand final. But, bad kicking's bad footy. We see it in modern footy. It's one aspect that just hasn't improved, Mark.
No, it doesn't improve. It's actually true. It does not improve. It hasn't improved, even with the professionalism, so-called.
Billy Pickens with us on Grandstand, Vintage Grandstand. We're looking back at the 1977 drawn grand final between North Melbourne and Collingwood.
Who did you play on, Bill, in this game? Did you go on Arnie?
No, I think I played on Stephen Ick.
Oh, Icky, okay. Haven't heard his name yet, so...
Kept him quiet.
But he's a fabulous player, and Stephen Ick, he could play forward or back.
Yeah, he's a good bloke. Good fella. Did you give him the... Here comes Billy?
No, I don't know about that. It was a grand final, so you're trying to save all your energies. But, look, they had some fabulous players like Schimmelbusch. When you're watching it. And there was a bloke called Baker. I'd never heard of him before, and I've never heard of him afterwards.
He kicked six.
He kicked 6 goals. He was jumping over the moon, that bloke.
He's a big boy, big, powerful boy.
The memory came back to me today about him.
It was a pretty good year for you as well, Billy. In the 1977 Brownlow, you finished third. Graham Teasdale won with 59 votes and Kevin Bartlett second with 45. What was the night like? Did you go along or did you listen on the radio?
Not sure now. You didn't Brownlow wasn't a real big thing in those days. Now they've been made to go and all that sort of stuff, and have red carpets and all that sort of stuff. So it's just a modern world, I suppose. But no, I don't know whether I went or not. I might have. I think that was about the only year where the two umpires voted, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And you finished third with 41 votes. Teasdale won with 59, and Len Thompson was fourth with 34 as well, which sort of goes to suggest how strong Collingwood's midfield was in that era.
Yeah, the midfield. I see. The Wayne Richardsons. They were, and I think Max might have been captain. And
yeah, he was.
Yeah, we had some fabulous talent. We had fabulous talent. We probably shouldn't have finished on the bottom in 76, but so did North Melbourne. I mean, Xavier Tanner and those sort of blokes. I mean, you forget about them, but when you watch watch the replay of the game, they had some stars. Brent Croswell, he could play anywhere. The thing about North Melbourne, Barassi shifted blokes all over the shop, and he was the modern day coach, if you know what I mean, what they're doing these days.
He sure is. And Tommy didn't do many moves, did he?
No, he wasn't big on that. You've just played in your position. I can remember one day I played on Rex Hunt at Collingwood, and Rex took 18 marks. It was probably the record, and he just never shifted it.
Hey, Billy.
Did you put your hand up? You say, hang on, get him out of here?
Yeah. Well, the runner just didn't come. Peter Hasey was his runner, and he just showed a lot of faith in you. That's the way Tommy coached.
He did that. He was very strong on that, and that was one of his strengths. And he had 8 grand finals in a row in 10 years, which is an enormous effort for him. The other side, how's Liam going?
Yeah, no, Liam's really good. He's recovered really well now, and it just took time. And he just had a fantastic career. He was just admired the way he played and what he got out of his ability.
We all do.
You must have been so proud, Billy. I mean, the entire finals series when the Bulldogs won that premiership in 2016, so much of it was on the back of his brilliant, courageous work, and the grand final as well. He played a superb match. Were you at the game and able to share that moment? Because, I mean, you had plenty of grand finals yourself. I think you played in 5 grand finals, didn't you? But didn't get that ultimate success in the end.
Yeah, no, I was there, and it was the only time I've been to a footy match when it ended that the Bulldog supporters couldn't believe what had happened. It was just so incredible.
It was fantastic, wasn't
it? They're sort of the born losers over 100 years, and it's just still hard to explain. And for me, I for the first time I ever felt what it was like to be in a winning grand final in the rooms after the game and just see the elation, the pride and the happiness of, the trainers and people who've been around the club for 100 years. It was, I found out what the feeling was like because I aligned grand finals to misery and loss and sadness and all that sort of stuff. And I know you've been through it, fellas. You've had, you've enjoyed the success. It's an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah, I also received the other side too, so I know exactly what it's like.
You two played on each other an awful amount of times during your careers. Billy, firstly to you, what was it like playing on Sellers?
No, it was fantastic. I mean, Carlton had Robert Walls, and then they had Mark McClure, and then they had Kernahan. They were so lucky to have, 3 terrific centre-half forwards. Sellers had a great work ethic. He obviously worked hard at his footy, and Carlton in those days, they just had so much pride in themselves and confidence, and they were great foes. It was, a fantastic time for footy.
Actually, Billy, we've spoken about this before. We had a thing on Fox Footy one time where we spoke about this sort of stuff, and I really liked and admired what Billy did. He was a star at Collingwood, and we had a lot of fun. We also had a few punch-ups. We had a bit of everything, didn't we? We had a few beers. We had the whole lot, and so But the part of it was about being competitive. He couldn't find a more competitive guy than Billy. When you walk over the line, that's what you wanted. And actually, he was. It was fun. He used to say, "Come on, here comes Billy," and he'd tell you what he was going to do. And I have a bit of a giggle about it, and everyone else would too. But it didn't matter. He was a great player, and you should be admired for what you did there. Because what happened in Sydney? How'd you go when you got to Sydney?
No, well, I was probably at the wrong age by then, but I started getting few injuries, like hamstring injuries and broken thumbs and broken collarbones. I just didn't get a clear run at it. But yeah, it was great. They're just a great bunch of blokes in those days. The Barry Rounds and the the players there.
Bernie Evans.
Yeah, Bernie
guys.
Evans with another. The bloke that went to Carlton, he was a beauty.
Reece Jones.
Reece Jones, yeah.
You got all the punters there, Billy. What are you doing?
That's it.
Billy, we got the news coming up. It's terrific to chat to you, mates. Thanks for joining us as we relive the 77 drawn grand final. I'm glad you didn't wear the brown suit to the Brownlow like Graham Teasdale did that year, but really good to reacquaint ourselves with you.
On you, Bill. See you, mate.
Hey, fantastic, guys.
News time.
ABC News, I'm Sam Wilkinson. About 30,000 Victorians have been tested for coronavirus since a testing blitz started on Monday. 7 new cases of COVID-19 were recorded in Victoria overnight, including 3 staff at a meat processing plant in Melbourne. A Victorian paramedic has also tested positive. The Victorian Health Minister, Jenny Mikakos, says 8 more testing sites are open at shopping centres across the state today.
Of course, the more tests that we do, the more data we will collect and the better position that we will be in to assess the possible easing of restrictions on the 11th of May.
Queensland's Health Minister has praised the community for complying with the rules as some coronavirus restrictions are eased across the state. From today, Queenslanders are allowed to leave their home for some recreation within a 50-kilometre radius of their home. Stephen Miles says people are doing a great job of maintaining social distancing, but says it will take 2 weeks to see the impact of the changes on COVID-19 cases.
If we don't see growth in our figures, then that's fantastic and we'll be able to consider further relaxation. If we do see numbers increase, well, then we'll need to consider whether this easing can stay in place.
The New South Wales opposition says it's willing to look at proposals to reform the state's tax system to bolster the economy in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. New South Wales is facing a $9 billion hit to its bottom line, and the Treasurer, Dominic Perrottet, is reportedly considering abolishing stamp duty and reassessing payroll tax. Labor spokesman Walt Secord says he's open to considering major changes in removing inefficient taxes.
In extraordinary times, you can do extraordinary things. He's set himself a major task, which is to undertake major reform to get people back to work, slash unemployment, and restart the economy. And I'm ready to take this journey with him. If he wants to put forward sensible plans on stamp duty, I stand ready to assist, and any sensible measures will work with them.
Pacific Island governments are erring on the side of caution with COVID-19 restrictions despite infection rates slowing almost to a complete stop. American Samoa has extended its state of emergency for a further 30 days, while Marshall Islands is blocking incoming travellers until June the 5th. Hundreds of PNG and Solomon Islands citizens remain stranded overseas after delays to repatriation flights and in-country testing. Solomon Islands yesterday approved a $37.5 million boost COVID stimulus package. Outside of Hawaii, Australia and New Zealand, there have been around 260 confirmed cases in the Pacific, with most in the US territory of Guam. Australia's ambassador to the United States says China has a lot to learn from an investigation into the coronavirus pandemic. China has criticised Australia's push for a global inquiry into the origins of COVID-19. But Arthur Sinodinos has told Sky News the world needs answers.
I can understand, if you're the government like the Chinese, which is potentially, sort of feeling the pressure on this, that you'd be on the defensive. But my view is we've got a lot to learn from this. China has a lot to learn from this. We've all got a lot to learn by comparing how we did things.
A man has been arrested after spraying the Cuban embassy in the US capital, Washington, with gunfire. Authorities say 42-year-old Cuban asylum seeker Alexander Alazzo, armed with an AK-47 assault rifle, fired more than 30 bullets at the embassy, allegedly because he wanted to get them before they could get him. The Cuban ambassador says there were only 7 staff in the building at the time and no one was hurt. He says, however, if it had happened on a normal day, there might have been 50 people inside and there could have been carnage. In the AFL, West Coast Chief Executive Trevor Nisbet says the possibility of the league setting up hubs to restart the season appears to be increasingly unlikely. The AFL has been considering the use of 3 hubs to house 6 teams each as it looks for a way to resume play following the COVID-19 pandemic. The concept has raised numerous questions around quarantine issues and sparked concern from players about being away from home for extended periods of time. Nisbet says discussions among league power brokers this morning suggests the hub plan has not yet been discarded, but he's told ABC Grandstand the AFL would prefer to have a more traditional looking season if possible.
Hopefully it falls into the category of some normality for the ability to fly in and fly out, but that will be subject obviously to what Western Australia does, what South Australia does and other states do with regards to their health protocols.
ABC News.
Who's there? Schimmelbusch and Bremner. In comes Egan Knight. Takes the magnificent mark right over the top.
On ABC Radio and ABC Grandstand Digital.
A local siren.
This is Vintage Grandstand.
Great to have your company on Vintage Grandstand, on Grandstand Digital and via the ABC Listen app. So if you're looking for that on your phone, just make sure you click on the AFL Extra button. Matt Clinch and Al Nicholson, Mark McClure, taking you through the 1977 drawn grand final between Collingwood and North Melbourne. Of course, North Melbourne would go on to win the following week by 27 points. But here we are celebrating the drawn grand final, which was played in front of over 100,000 fans at the MCG. So one of those days which I'm sure lives in the memories of lots of people. Alan, we've had some people reach out, which is good.
Yeah, 0437 774 0437 774 774. If you want to send us a text message with your memories, or if you've got a suggestion for us on Vintage Grandstand, a match that you would like us to pull out of the ABC vault. We've got a lot of the grand finals from back in the day, Clinchy. A few other matches as well, but if you can think of a great grand final that you'd love to hear the original ABC commentary of and hear from a few players from the past, 0437 774 774, let us know. We've heard from Billy Picken, we've heard from Smokey Dawson, we've got Ken Montgomery coming up, we've got Peter Moore as well, and Wayne Schimmelbusch later on. A few of your texts so far. S. Toffer is asking, why is this not on 774? Well, we might have to work on that. We're on the ABC Listen app via the AFL Extra button and Grandstand Digital at the moment. Had a message come through as well from Matt. He's loving the segment, really enjoying listening to Smokey and Billy. Will it be available as a podcast later? That's another thing we're working on.
Work on that. I've got
a few things to work on.
Great initiative. Love the voice of Smokey Dawson, the sound of 3LO, late 70s and 80s. Thank you very much.
And Paul Baines has sent us a few. He reckons Clark Hansen needs to take a Bex. He's getting a bit too excited, but he says a few of the terms. He loves Doug Below, legendary straight-talking comments, and also says, please, someone bring back the expression ball burster in the future. How good was Smokey Dawson? So thanks for all your contributions via Twitter, at Matt Clinch, at Alistair Nico, or 0437 774 774 on the SMS.
And it was nice to speak to Billy Picken too.
Brilliant.
I have great respect for him, and I think the footy will do too. He's been a star player.
Absolutely. Alistair Nicholson, Matt Clinch, Mark McClure with you. We're replaying the 77 grand final. So still to come, Ken Montgomery, who was a star for North Melbourne that day, Peter Moore from Collingwood, the dual Brownlow medalist, and Wayne Schimmelbusch, a great of the North Melbourne Footy Club.
So we touched on Liam Picken, of course, who played for the Western Bulldogs, Billy's son. Marcus, also one of his other sons, played for the Brisbane Lions, and he's also the uncle of Jonathan Brown.
He is, or yeah, that's right. That's his nephew is Jonathan Brown. Yeah.
So pretty good footy family.
Well, they're Warrnambool boys, you know. They all come from down that Western Districts way, and I think he's still down at Horsham now with some cows and cattle in the farm. I think he's got 800 cows, and he's set up a farm. He worked for the racing club at one stage, I think, down there, Horsham Racing Club, or one of those, as a CEO for a while, Billy. And look, he's a good fella, good straight guy, basic, simple. You can see he's hurting because he played in so many grand finals and didn't win them, and it was great to see that he got some joy out of his son winning it, which is fantastic.
And Sellers, you did mention he was notorious for his calls as the ball was in the air and the pack formed, and it would be the old "here comes Billy." Can you explain what he used to get up to, just for those younger listeners who might not have heard those stories before?
He used to call, "I'm going to get this one, you got no hope," and he'd yell at you, and "It's my ball, Billy's ball," and he'd be doing all that sort of stuff. It was just, and at the start I went, who the hell's this bloke? But then in the end, it was fun, you know. It was seriously, and sometimes you've got to have some fun. There's nothing wrong with having a bit of fun, because it's a business game. It's hard, it's tough, it's all those things. And but he was a unique player. And sometimes when he got the ball, it'd come back to you pretty quickly, because he wasn't the greatest kick.
Some interesting personalities in that Collingwood side. You touched on Phil Carman, who wasn't playing this grand final. Tom Hafey is the coach. Renee Kink, Peter Moore, Len Thompson, of course, the ruckman. So Brownlow medal form there. Ricky Barham, Stan Mangro, who flashes up in the vision when you're watching it. When he and
Robert Hyde.
Been
a great coach.
Ray Shaw as well, of course, the father of
Andrew Ireland.
Reese and
Heath.
Yeah, Andrew Ireland's another one who's been in football for forever, you know, as a manager. They've got stars everywhere. Maxie Richardson, Wayne Richardson, all those guys. And they're just it's been interesting how they can turn around in 1 year. I mean, to come from last to get up to the top, I mean, seriously, I don't know what the coach before was doing. And you actually have to ask that question, because what was he doing? And I don't think he got another job for a while. So, but Tommy was a basic bloke who, as you said, got him fit. And once you get fit, you can actually find out what you can do. And if you're not fit, and you're not trained hard, and you're not pushed hard, you know what? You become fat and slow. It's like cows. You've got to push them around the yard a bit, otherwise they get fat.
Now, Sellers, we've got to get to the second quarter in a moment, but being on the radio on a Saturday afternoon affords us the opportunity to renew the Drew Morfitt Memorial Quaddie, and I'm happy to report that after leg one, we're alive. And we haven't said that too often.
No, we have not.
Well, we haven't had any games to go to for a start, but no, we got 3 legs of the first round, remember?
Yep.
Round one,
we need 4. And there was a big quid in that one. And we failed, of course, but still.
Historically, though, you and Drew didn't tend to clean up very often, did you?
Oh, no, we had 1 year we had 12 of 22. We sort of give ourselves a spell during the finals.
How many did you have in each leg?
4. We'd only have 4 in a leg. We wouldn't go any further than 4.
Okay.
You know, we'd do that. And some of Drew's would, you know, seriously, I mean, the discussion beforehand was the best. He'd come up with some of the weird and wildest ideas you've ever seen in your life. And put a hole through them straight away. Don't want to know about that. Go away. But we had a lot of fun, I can tell you, and enjoyed ourselves. And sometimes when you're watching some average games, there is a relief. And I remember one time we had 3 legs of the quaddie and the last quarter was on. And Stan didn't do it, and neither did Gerard. We wouldn't let Gerard in. We just drew a night. So we just sit and tell it, over to you, blokes.
Well, that was my calling experience, Al, is that when Drew was involved financially in a race, he'd just tap you on the shoulder, put the feet up, and you knew, don't bother tapping to him until the race was over, because he's occupied.
I reckon I called 6 passages of play in a row one day while Drew Morfitt watched a horse race, and that was the first time I ever called with him. Loved every second.
You'd be gasping for air. No, stay there.
Just a bit more, young fella.
Vintage Grandstand on Grandstand Digital and via the ABC Listen app. Just click on the AFL Extra. That's what we're looking for. Some of the stories and the characters involved in course of this time of footy.
Actually, can I ask one question?
Please.
Why aren't we on ABC, the actual 774? Seriously.
You're not asking the right people, Sellers.
Well, maybe someone's listening.
We'll let you go and make a phone call or 2, Sellers, and we'll put the second quarter to air. What do you reckon?
Good idea.
So the current quarter time score, North Melbourne 4-4-28, Collingwood 1-5-11. Let's take you to the second quarter of the 1977 grand final.
Umpire Sutcliffe bounces the ball. The second quarter is underway. Keenan and Thompson. It's Keenan who gets it down. A little bit far for Schimmelbusch. Out comes Ireland in front of Blight. Good shepherding by Barham. Ireland drives the ball in towards half forward. Anderson in front, and he's marked. In front of Montgomery. Wide in the shadows of the members' pavilion. He plays it in towards full forward. 2 out. Moore's got the chance this time. He's marked. Great mark. He held back sufficiently to keep Gumbleton away from the ball, and he went in, judged it superbly, and Moore's marked 20 metres out from goal directly in front.
He's a big lad, Graham, isn't he? He's
my word, he is
a fine type, and I feel that if he can get away confidently in this quarter, he's going to be a very important key for Collingwood in their attack.
All of 198 centimetres as Peter Moore comes in to punt for goal for the Magpies. In the first minute of the second term, they trail by 17 points as Moore comes in. He punts for goal. He's put it through. The centre, Collingwood. 2 goals, 5-17. North Melbourne, 4-4-28. 11 points the difference. 1 minute gone, second term.
It's a much better start in this quarter. Because as we mentioned, at a quarter time, Collingwood had been forward repeatedly in that quarter. We paid great tribute to the North defence, but I don't think anybody could have stopped that effort by Moore, which resulted in the goal.
Repeating the score here at the MCG, a great start in the second quarter to Collingwood. They've got to catch up the leeway. North Melbourne 4-4-28, Collingwood 2-5-17.
And the second football has disappeared. My word, what a great day for souveniring football.
Well, yes, we might see a few mounted in a few lounge rooms after today. Umpire John Sutcliffe and Ian Robinson, they're the officiating fellows here at the MCG, and it's Sutcliffe to bounce. It's Keenan in the ruck against Thompson. Keenan gets it down, goes straight to Magro. He drives Collingwood back into attack. Up goes Anderson, but closely attended there by Montgomery. Backing him up well was Sutton. He drives the ball wide on the members' side wing. Will it go over the line? No. It bounces beautifully for North Melbourne. Over the line and out of bounds. Right in front of the members' stand. Nearly up onto the wing. Still in Collingwood's attacking area. Collingwood opening with a goal in the first minute of the second quarter. Up goes Keenan and also Cowton. Cowton and Thompson. Nobody can pick it up, but a push in the back there to Barham, and Barham will get the free kick. Magro coming in, relaying the ball back to him now. Barham indicating that he's going to drive the ball up onto the half-forward line, and there it is, coming in nicely though is Sutton. He judged that to a nicety, and Wearmouth was too far forward. Sutton has done his job well in that defensive position for North Melbourne. Drives it back around the... Oh, up goes Croswell very high. Taps it down towards Shimmerbush. He's grabbed by Barham. Will get the free kick. And North Melbourne now, their chance to go into attack. Scoreboard reading, Collingwood 2-5, trailing North Melbourne 4-4 as we wait for Wayne Shimmerbush. He elects now to go off, try and upset the Collingwood defence. There's the kick. It's a high one. Up into the half-forward line. Up goes Byrne, or is it Bridus? It's Bridus to take a very easy mark. There was not a Collingwood defender within Cooey.
And they all got lockjaw, I think, at that particular time because there wasn't a great deal of talking.
Bridus, who's a key to the North Melbourne forward line. Baker gives a half-hearted lead. Drops back into the goal square as Bridus comes in now. Drop punt kick. It's a beautiful kick. Is it through the middle? No, it's dropping short. The pack fly. Who's there? It's off the pack. Casson in there, but it's off hands, or it was touched and through for a behind to North Melbourne. Scoreboard reading, Collingwood 2-5-17, trailing North Melbourne 4-5-29. We've played 3 minutes into the second term.
One would hope that the Collingwood defence smarts itself up because it hasn't been doing a lot of thinking so far, as we saw in that particular passage of play.
There's the kick by Worthing to the outer side. Oh, Keenan gets in front of Thompson, who takes the mark. No push. Risky hand pass from Thompson. Manasseh falls over, gets the ball out. Oh, plenty of pressure. The ball comes to Max Richardson. He wants it. Kicks the ball forward with his left boot. And a chance there for Henshaw, who comes out and smoking the Cherrywood. Beautiful understanding there because Cowton let the ball go for him. Short kick by Henshaw, marked by Cable. At centre half back. What's he going to do? He plays on. Long raking drop punt towards Croswell. It was well dealt with by Ireland and just allowed Hyde to come in. Hyde goes for a short pass and finds Wearmouth, who's off. His explosive pace, he kicks a shocker. Montgomery, it misses him, misses everyone. Comes to Gumbel, misses him too. In comes King. Had the left foot snap and he's put it through.
Remarkable. Went through the legs of 4 players. Bounced, eluded, 2 or 3. And Kink, luckily on the scene to pop through Collingwood's third.
The Magpies are back in business at the 4.5 minute mark of the second term as they go to 3 goals, 5-23. North Melbourne 4-5-29. 6 points the difference. The Kangaroos lead. 5 minutes gone, second term.
Vintage Grandstand on ABC Radio and ABC Grandstand Digital.
Alves throws the ball over his head looking for Keenan. Out comes Manasseh. The Magpies are now inspired as Thompson gets it to Wearmouth. Oh, they're going head-hunting now. Wearmouth copped another one. He's off. He got a free kick. He's had a bounce. He's run 30 metres. Gets put down. Little dribbling kick. Out comes Ireland. Good defence as Blight goes in after the ball. Picked up by Ireland. He gives it back to Wearmouth. Oh, he cops another one. It's towards centre half forward. Here's Barham. leading in the race for the ball. Schimmelbusch on his hammer, close to the boundary line, and it's out of bounds on the full. Wrong decision. There's out of bounds on the full. I thought the goal umpire was getting it the other way, but the boundary umpire said no, it's out of bounds on the full. That is the correct decision. And Gumbleton has the free kick for North Melbourne in the back pocket. North Melbourne 4-9-33, Collingwood 3-7-25.
That goal umpire shouldn't have given a decision then, because the boundary umpire was perfectly positioned.
Quite right. There's the kick by Gumbleton round the members' side towards the wing. Blyton Island. Over the top was Tanner. Comes off the hand of the pack. The Magros caught with the ball. Free kick to Blight. And Wearmouth is going after, and he kicks the ball away, and there'll be a 15-metre penalty. No 15-metre penalty, Doug Bigelow?
No,
He kicked the ball off the ground about 50 metres away there.
Yes, he did.
I can't blame him.
Why, I
for being a
don't
little
know.
upset. Here's Blight at half-back. Still got the free kick. He roosters about 85 metres towards centre-half forward. Casson runs into Thompson. There must be a free kick to Thompson. Good umpiring.
Yeah. How many free kicks has Thompson had? He's had 4.
North Melbourne are 4-9-33. Collingwood 3-7-25. A tight last man standing grand final. This will be for sure. And maybe that weak spell could do the Magpies a lot of good as Thompson's the half-back on the point of the square. He kicks the ball over the centre circle. Wayne Richardson is there. Comes off the hands of the pack to Henshaw. He goes for a long hand pass to Byrne. He puts it in front of him. Gordon's right on his hammer. Oh, but Byrne does it beautifully. He runs away from Gordon. Goes for a kick to Baker, who made beautiful position. Worthington over the top. Baker couldn't hold the mark, but his recovery's good. Screws it back over his shoulder. Who's there? Briders taps it down to Casson. No free kick as Casson screws it over his shoulder. And it will go through. Yes.
Oh, it's a mark.
He's paid the mark. It marked on the goal line, and Bill Pickens says it was through, and of course it was. As Ick runs round, plays on, looks for Blight. No free kick as Baker runs in. He's running the wrong way, screws it back over his shoulder and put it out of bounds on the full. Well, what a comedy of errors and bad play there. And there's another how do you do as Thompson runs away. And was it touched off the boot? No, Thompson was the player closest to where the ball went out of bounds on the full, so he must take the penalty. Good umpiring, Ian Robinson.
My word, he didn't want to.
He wanted to be where the action was. 33-25. He wanted to mark his own kick.
And it's Thompson, last line of defence. I don't think the rucks have played a big part in this match. Doug Bigelow may comment a little later.
Keenan's been the best ruckman so far.
There's the kick by Thompson, up to the half-back flank. Up goes Dunn, but nearly a mark there to North Melbourne. Nobody can pick it up. Wearmouth falls out of the pack. Scrambly play. Eventually picked up, put on the member side wing where it's marked by Kink. Kink down on the member side wing, puts it into the centre circle. Will find Hyde. Hyde goes for a bounce. Coming in was Carlton. Carlton's retarded his progress there. Hyde should have got rid of it. He's by himself. Lovely play by Carlton to get the hand pass to Cable. Cable gets it back to Montgomery. Montgomery into the centre of the ground will find Byrne. Coming in is Magro. Oh, good play there by Magro to spoil. But coming through now is Gordon. He'll have a bounce as he comes through the centre circle. Drives a long raking kick looking for more and more marks.
It's the only thing that Gordon has done so far in the match. He did that well and the delivery was perfect. And Moore marking on the chest. Most unusual to see that.
Yes, well, Moore read that beautifully and a lovely piece of disposal there by Wayne Gordon. These two are like twins. They're both blondes, both 6 feet. Moore's the taller, but they like playing together, and Moore obviously knows what to do as soon as Gordon gets that ball. But it's Moore coming in for his second kick for second goal. It's off the boot. It looks all right. We'll just wait on it. No, offline and through from behind. So Gordon, although he's marked reasonably well, has only kicked 1 goal too. Peter Moore. 1 goal, 2. North Melbourne 4-9-33. Collingwood 3-8-26 as we wait for Daryl Sutton to put the ball back into play. 25 minutes gone in the second term. Not a very good kick. A long raking kick. Oh, and up goes Tanner with a magnificent mark. Falls over. Max Richardson on the mark there, the Collingwood captain. Umpire Sutcliffe bringing him back a few metres. And it's Tanner now, centre half back, wide of centre half back. Puts it up there looking for Elves. He was pushed in the back. No, it was Briders. Comes down to Casson. Casson goes one way, threads his way through the pack. Nice play. It's up to centre half. Oh, up goes Baker. He can't mark. Going through strongly there is Croswell. He can't get it, but there's a free kick to Collingwood. A push in the back. Sure. And taking the free kick will be Gott.
Or Gott. Third time lucky.
Gott at centre half back, comes through now. He goes one way. Croswell's on the mark. Play on, says the umpire. Croswell's a little asleep then. Gott got the message very quickly. Threads the hand pass to Manasseh. Manasseh kicks it up into the centre square. Up goes... who was it there? Sutton. He can't mark it. Off the hands of the pack. It comes down to Wayne Richardson. Here's the Moore Gumbleton duel. Moore had the box seat, couldn't mark it. Coming through was Gumbleton, who had the fit of the fumbles. He couldn't read the play too well. It comes out there towards Blight. Blight falls over, push in the back, and Blight will get the free kick. Very quiet player for North Melbourne is Malcolm Blight, ruck roving at the moment. Threads the hand pass, looking for Cable. Coming down on him is Dunn. Or you could be in trouble there, Cable, but he does it nicely to get the hand pass there to Carlton, who comes up to centre half back, puts it into the centre of the ground there. Up goes Brightus. He can't mark. Great little mark there to Magro. Should have been painted. He immediately plays on, puts it to centre half forward, but a good mark to Keenan, who's had the better of the ruck duels. Keenan, centre half back with a good defensive mark.
North Melbourne 33, Collingwood 26. 26 minutes gone, second term. There's a great mark.
North Melbourne.
Brightus, is it? It is. He picks himself up. He's on the outer wing as Alves calls for it. Kicks a little wide, but Alves recovers very well and marks 3 millimetres inside the line. I think he's given Gordon a little bit of stick here today.
If you don't mind, plenty.
33 to 26, 7 points in favour of the Kangaroos, and they've been goalless so far in the second term. Right up towards half forward, Nick bursts out of the pack, left foot snap for goal, and I think he's put it into the top of the post. Well, that could have been a telling shot. Right on half-time, Nick burst out of the pack and a beautiful left foot snap for goal, and he put it into the top of the post. North Melbourne, 4 goals, 10-34. Collingwood, 3-8, 26. It's 8 points the difference as Worthington takes his time. He walks back towards the big sticks and he'll put the ball back into play with Baker on the mark. 34 to 26, 8 points the difference. Worthington to the outer side of the ground. Oh, Gordon's got the box seat, leads well and takes the mark in front of both Alves and Keenan. Close to the boundary line. Gordon with the footy for Collingwood. Not a good kick, it's falling a little short, but Magro nearly took the mark off his hands to Blight. Blight overruns the ball. Magro's recovery's good. He's playing a great game. Drives the Collingwood side forward. Up to half forward. Kink and Sutton had a tremendous duel. Comes down towards Henshaw, who falls over. Here's a chance. Anderson kicks the ball on the ground. Out comes Gumbleton. More. They're charging from everywhere. Grabbed by Gumbleton. Oh, he kicks a shocker. Comes to Wayne Richardson. Centre half forward. He drives it right back in towards full forward. Too many North Melbourne players. Marked by Montgomery as he plays on. Puts one in short. And he finds a Dench half back on the outer side. He spins around, gives the hand pass across there towards Henshaw. Henshaw will go for a short one towards Keenan. Over the top was Gordon, off hands, and it's out of bounds on the outer wing. North Melbourne, 4 goals, 10-34. Collingwood, 3-8, 26. 8 points the difference in the grand final. Thompson and Keenan. Neither can get a decisive hit down. Cable and Wearmouth. Wearmouth bursts his way through, picks the ball up, runs back in towards the centre, drives it towards half forward. There's Shimmerbush and Burham. They both over on it. Oh, Sutton fumbles badly. In comes Wayne Richardson. He's at centre half forward. Kicks under pressure. Oh, straight down the throat of Henshaw. And he bursts away for North Melbourne. Plays it wide looking for Byrne. He's in front of Ireland. He takes the mark. He plays on. Who's he going to kick to? He gives a hand pass long to Casson. Casson will give it to Shimmerbush. Beautiful use of the football. Shimmerbush steps around Shaw. There's a lead from Brightus. And it's too wide. And Thompson marks at half back. Brightus penalised 15 metres because he did a very silly thing. He went in and tapped Thompson in the ear.
Thompson was shocked. He couldn't believe that could happen to him.
But I mean, if he was going to do it, why not do it properly? He just tapped him over the ear and said, here you go. Thompson finds Wayne Richardson in the centre. He plays on quickly. Moore leads again. He'll mark on his chest. He does. I tell you what, he's judging the flight of the ball superbly, the big fellow. And Moore's marked 50 metres out, 45 possibly, the slightest of angles. Lovely to see the afternoon tea arrive from the Melbourne Cricket Club. Beautiful. As the Collingwood lead 34 to 26. More 65 metres out from goal on a slight angle. He's taking his time. He's kicked 1 goal, 2. He's got a big chance to put the Magpies right in the game on half time. 30 minutes gone. He punts for goal. The goal umpire hasn't moved. It's right down the chute. And Collingwood go to 4 goals, 8-32. Trailing North Melbourne. 4-10-34, 2 points the difference, almost half-time. There's a wrestle on in the centre, is it? Magro's down. Magro's wrestling.
Manasseh, I think it may
Manasseh. Well, how do you do? That's 150 metres behind play. Manasseh and Brightus it's got to be. Big wrestle, Manasseh and Brightus. It's 34 to 32, and I tell you what, it'll be survival of the fittest, Doug Bigelow. 2 points the difference. It's a great game.
Well, I don't wish to say I told you so, but I did mention about 10 minutes ago that you could just see a general pegging back by Collingwood so far, particularly in the second term, looking a lot better. And North Melbourne, even though possibly looking a little more impressive haven't been able to cash enough forward. Collingwood's backline playing a lot better.
Siren about to sound at any moment now for half-time. North Melbourne 2 points in front from the centre bounce. It's Magro gets booped the ball. Coming out there to King. King using his strength, nicely smothered there by Sutton. Coming into it now, Schimmelbusch. He's got the ball now, trying to get away from Ireland. He does, threads the hand pass across to Sutton. Sutton around the member side, wing a half-distance kick there, looking for Iconic. Marks in front of Picken. North Melbourne badly need a goal to consolidate their lead. There's the kick by Picken, dropping short. Up goes Croswell. Good mark there to Gotton. And there's the siren for half-time with North Melbourne in front by 2 points. Half-time, North Melbourne 4-10-34. North Melbourne 4-10-34. Collingwood 4-8-32 at half-time. Goal kickers for North Melbourne, 3 to Baker and 1 to David Dench. For Collingwood, 2 to Peter Moore, 1 apiece to Kink and Anderson.
So half-time in the 1977 drawn grand final. Collingwood making their move in that second quarter, managing 3 goals to North Melbourne's 6 behinds. And as we've said throughout the call, inaccurate kicking will be costly for North Melbourne. 13 successive behinds from the 24-minute mark of the first quarter. And they didn't fail to kick a goal in that second and third quarter. So Collingwood able to wrestle a bit of momentum back in that second quarter. One of the men who featured for North Melbourne in that match is Ken Montgomery. He's been good enough to join us on Vintage Grandstand. Ken, welcome. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure. Nice to look back a long, long way.
What are your memories of that day, Ken?
Have you got any?
They're vivid in a lot of ways. It's also a long, long time ago. But when that siren sounded after the game, you never forget those feelings. And of course, you always run out when you run out into a grand final. You've got 115,000 people. You never forget those moments.
All right, take us into that moment then at the end, if you can, Ken. When the siren goes, Collingwood's kicked a goal, Twiggy Dunn to level the scores again after North's run Collingwood down in the last quarter. What is that emotion like, and where are you on the field, and what are you doing at the time?
Well, I was certainly in the back line because the ball was coming down the wing with Shane Bond, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
Once it sounded, I think we just ran around. A lot of the fellas just flopped to the ground. I just walked around, but I think it was the unknown. I don't think anyone out there really knew whether we came back next week or if we played an extra quarter, or there was a fair bit of confusion because you don't think about those type of results.
We'll hear it later on, but fair to say Crackers Keenan and Rene Kink weren't too worried about whether they were playing next week or not. They decided to bang on a bit at the final siren, didn't they?
They did, yes. Well, Crackers, I think, always like to put on a bit of a show for the public. So, given there was not much to cheer about for either side's supporters, he put a show on for us.
So what did Barras say to you after that, Kenny? After that game, when you walked inside, there must have been something said, what are we going to do for the week?
G'day, Sellers, how are you?
Never been better.
That's the way.
I have been better, yes.
You do forget, and you know, Sellers, you do forget the actual words, but it was probably that night at the grand final function, which was supposed to have been a premiership celebration. He pulled all the players out, and the partners of the players, and talked to us all, talked to the girls about how they've got to sacrifice for another week and, you know, give us fellas to him again.
Sacrifice what?
Just the time, the hours. It wasn't like it is these days, professional, so we all had jobs and families and, you know, we all had a lot going on in our life besides football, as you'd probably know way back then.
So when it came to the week, you turn up on your Saturday you play, so what goes on after that?
You're probably asking the wrong player. I spent the week in bed with the flu.
You were in bed for the flu for the week?
I did not train the week of the replay, no.
And actually you played really well in the replay.
In the draw, 26 disposals in the draw, Ken.
And sensational in the grand final as well. You should get it more often.
I think finals. I missed 2 finals through injury, so I know the pluses and the minuses.
Yes.
If you run out into a grand final and you're fit, you're lucky because it's a tough season.
77 was a big one for you, Ken, because you had, as you say, you missed big finals, including the 1975 grand final when North Melbourne finally broke through for their first premiership.
I did. I was picked in this side in the 76 grand final and pulled a hamstring on the Wednesday night doing extra work after all the other players had gone inside.
So did you think you were stiff to get a draw? Because you had so many shots on goal. You probably dominated most of the game in some areas, but just couldn't finish it off.
Yeah, we thought we could beat Collingwood, but grand finals... there's no such thing as easy ones. But I think we won the 77 grand final on the Saturday night of the drawn game.
So Brass pulled you together. Yeah, he pulled you together.
Certainly did, and he trained us very well that week too. It was short, sharp. We didn't need endurance stuff. We'd had a tough game in the draw.
We've all heard so much about Barassi, the player, and his methods as a coach, Ken. Can you give us some insight? And I was interested, the coach a season with Ron Barassi, John Powers wrote a book on 1977, and in it, at half-time, which is where we are in the replay with the ABC call at the moment, there's an incident that he recounts where Ron Barassi actually grabbed the player and threw him against the lockers. Do you remember that?
No, it was probably a normal occurrence.
Really?
In the rooms. There was a few players who got a little bit aggressive back towards Barras in those days because, he lived on his emotions. He loved his football and he was very competitive. I remember John Casson was one that was very fiery with him.
What about Arnold Brodus?
Shane Zantuck. Keith Gregg had a love-hate relationship with Barras in a lot of ways, so did probably Blighty.
Blighty, yeah.
Look, he was a tough man, so he got the best out of us. There's no such thing as coaches who are easy, and most players at the end of their career with a tough coach probably have some mixed thoughts about them. But all I can say about Barras is he brought success to our club. He and a number of other, North people, the Aylets and the Cheatleys and Josephs, all were the instigation of a great era for us.
North Melbourne defender Ken Montgomery is with us on Grandstand's Vintage Grandstand. We're reliving the 1977 drawn grand final, and Ken was a star on the day with 26 disposals. Just to round off that Barassi discussion, Ken, you saw him get physical with players. That was a fairly regular occurrence that there would be that kind of incident?
It certainly happened more than once, yes.
I'm pretty sure
it's every week, but there was times, yes.
I'm pretty certain Tiger got a few runs.
Tiger kept leaving clubs to get away from Brass, but Brass kept following him. Tiger came to North, and then Brass followed him, and then he went to Melbourne, and Brass followed him there. So, yes, he had a love-hate relationship too, but...
I had a talk to Arnold Brodus during the week and Arnold said he had a few run-ins with him too. He was a fiery bugger.
He certainly was.
Ken, it's Matt Clinch here. You played in the Premiership the following week in 1977. You won the Sid Barker medal in 1972. You didn't feature in the grand final in 75. Why was that?
I did an ankle mid-season in 75. Missed a couple of games and tried to go back out too early and re-injured the same ligament and never played again until I was the one change to the 75 winning side for the Australian Championships in South Australia. Was available, but I hadn't played for 10 weeks, something like that, in the grand final, so I wasn't picked, unfortunately.
So do you remember leading into that grand final, having missed out in 75? You had a family history as well with North Melbourne, with your dad and your grandfather and your cousin all playing for the club, that you were desperate to win a premiership with them?
Oh, look, it's your dream, and you sometimes think you're going to, miss it. Even 77, I was in hospital for over a week with a squashed kidney, and the doctors told me not to play again that year. It's the old story, you don't always listen to doctors. It is just like being in the right place at the right time with premierships. So there's a lot of good players who have missed them for various reasons, and there's probably some average players who have been there at the right time.
Kenny, there's not too many people who are really fit on grand final day when you think about it.
Exactly.
Most of them are worn out.
Exactly. They're long years, and particularly after the final series. And that's what I was saying before. I was lucky enough, the replay, I'd been in bed all week, but I was still physically fit in the legs and all that type of thing. So.
Do you remember Xavier Tanner's game, how good it was?
Yeah, he was a quality player. Probably didn't stay at the top for as long as I thought he would, but and John Byrne was a similar. John
Burns, yeah.
Broke, I think it was ankle in both legs over a period of time, but I rated him above Michael Tuck.
No, he rated him. He rated himself as well.
Are you talking about John Burns?
Johnny Burns.
Or John Byrne. So John Burns with an S played in the 75. John Byrne, B-Y.
Oh, you're right. Yes, my apologies.
77. So quite different players, both very good players.
Good on you, Ken. We've got to get to the third quarter. Thanks for sharing some memories with us.
No, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and all the best sellers. I'll see you next January.
I will.
Ken Montgomery joining us on Vintage Grandstand. We're replaying the 1977 VFL Grand Final. At halftime, North Melbourne led 4-10 to Collingwood 4-8. Here's the third quarter, as heard on ABC Radio.
Wearmouth comes through, comes out to Elves. Elves quickly onto his left boot, puts it up into the forward pocket. Croswell and Gott. Well done, Gott, to punch it over the boundary line and out of bounds to give the Magpies a little bit of respite there. It's right in the right forward pocket for North Melbourne. They've opened up this third term rather well. There it is, Croswell in ruck. It comes down to Baker. He takes it out of the pack, had plenty of time and kicks it out of bounds on the full. Well, he's a very awkward player, is Phil Baker. A magnificent mark, but he seems to spoil everything by atrocious kicking. And it's Worthington, last line of defence, to take the free kick. He comes through next to the behind post, kicks a high one around in front of the members' stand. Up goes Twiggy Dunn laconically and takes it on the second bite. I'll need plenty of effort from him today to the Magpies. There's the kick from Dunn, looking for Kink. Oh, and Kink marks too. A good mark on the second bite.
Clever.
Kink comes in now, wide of the centre square, drives at goalward. Here's Moore and Gumbleton. Moore in front's got too much height and marks. Gumbleton playing from behind, and you would have bet anything on Moore taking that mark. And Moore would be something like 25 metres out on a very slight angle. He's already kicked 2 goals, 2 goals too, and if he can kick this one, the Magpies will be in front, because the scoreboard, North Melbourne 4-11-35, Collingwood 4-8-32. Well, just wait for Moore now. Peter Moore has kicked 2 goals too. Will this be his third? Coming in now very deliberately. The kick's on its way. It looks pretty good to me. And it's right through the middle. And that's Peter Moore's third goal. Leading goal kicker, joint leading goal kicker with Phil Baker. Baker and Worthington both kicked 3 goals. So Collingwood now go to the front. And they lead by 3 points. Collingwood 5-8-38. North Melbourne 4-11-35. We've played 3 minutes into the third term.
Well, I don't know whether he'd be robbing Peter to pay for Paul, but Graham Dawson and I have conferred. And we feel that Phil Baker might be the man to combat more, because Gumbleton, who is recognised as an excellent back pocket player, normally minding ruckman, and has done that job exceptionally well, but he's not looking after Moore in a key position well enough.
There's the bounce of the ball. It's Magro and Cable who go forward. It comes down towards Tanner. Off the hands to Max Richardson. He's kicking under pressure. Comes to Kink. They miss it. So does Dent. Dent's recovery is good. He gets a hand pass away towards Sutton. He'll set North Melbourne moving. He plays it wide. Brightus is leading Manasseh in the race for the ball, and he's taken the mark. Wide at half forward. He plays on immediately with the left boot right in towards the forward pocket. Baker sitting back. Got over the top. Baker's been paid the mark, and Doug Gott, it was your ball. I agree with you. Umpire Sutcliffe is being remonstrated to by Doug Gott, and Doug Gott, I'd say it was your ball.
Well, it may have been, but he's a back pocket player. He should have gone for the punch. That was the obvious thing to do, and the first time that he was in the perfect position to do it.
In comes Baker. Will it be his fourth? Oh, he's put it across the face again and through from behind. So Baker's off target. and North Melbourne go to 4-12-36. Collingwood 5-8-38, 2 points the difference, 4 minutes gone, third term.
I hope that Worthington doesn't get upset by that beer can or bottle that came his way.
Well, there's the move, Doug Bigelow. Croswell has gone down onto Moore. Croswell onto Moore. Gumbled to the forward pocket. Dench has picked up Ick since half-time as Keenan cleverly marks the kick in. And Sutton has been moved on to Dunn. So plenty of moves as Keenan drives the ball right in towards full forward. Baker goes high again. Couldn't hold the mark. Cable in there burrowing on the ground. Paddles it out, but it's picked up by Ireland. He'll get a free kick or go downfield because he was dealt with. Now it's going back to Ireland, is it? Yes, it is. Ireland at full-back for Collingwood to get the free kick, and the Magpies maybe just starting to get a little on top here in the grand final. They lead by 2 points as Ireland slips the hand pass. And away they go. Back towards the wing. Thompson over the top, and he's got it. 3 bites of the avocado as Cracker said, I had it, but he didn't. Long hand pass by Thompson away to Max Richardson. He runs his full measure. Puts the Magpies deep into attack. Montgomery the chance, and he marks on his chest. Judged it to a nicety. Montgomery at centre half back for North Melbourne. The Magpies in front by 2 points. A shocking kick by Montgomery off the side of the boot. Keenan goes down. No free kick picked up by Dunn. Hand pass to Gordon. Nowhere to go. A hand pass to Shaw sets him right up. He gives it to Magro, and the Magpies are starting to look pretty good. Right up to full forward. It's Moore and Croswell. Good play by Croswell. He taps the ball over the line and out of bounds, and he used his body pretty well on Big Moore.
Some very weak tackling there from the North Melbourne fellows.
Yes, they were rather mesmerised, I thought, by the cleverness of Gordon with his handball. It was a bit like Cable last week, wasn't it?
There's the throw, and it's done in front of Keenan on that occasion. It comes down to Montgomery. Quick kick in, finds Elves. He spills it on his chest. He's caught without the ball, and there'll be a free kick going to Stanley Elves. Wearmouth remonstrating with umpire Sutcliffe, but to no avail. You can't get away with that. The decision's been made. Elves on the half-back flank. Chips one in short, looking for Montgomery on the wing. Montgomery will mark under a lot of pressure of Dunn. Coming through very solidly there was Magro to just stem the tide a little bit, but it's Montgomery out on the member side wing. Stout half-back flanker for North Melbourne as he comes now looking to go through the centre. A funny looking kick, but he's going to find all Collingwood, and a good mark there to Barham, who read that nicely. Could read Montgomery's thoughts there, and it's Barham wide of the centre, immediately plays on, puts Collingwood into attack. It's back to Montgomery and Moore. Up goes Croswell to punch it away. Scouting the pack well was done. He gets through the pack, can't control the ball, picked up by Croswell. His kick is not a very good one, comes down to Max Richardson. Long hand pass to Moore as he comes into the forward pocket, shoots for goal, and he's put it through. That's his 4th goal. Well, there's the danger, man. We've said it right throughout this match, and Collingwood appear to be getting well on top at the moment. Collingwood 6-8-44, North Melbourne 4-12-36, and you've just heard the ecstatic Collingwood fans here at the MCG.
Unselfish and good play by Max Richards. That was intelligent handball, and Moore did the rest.
There's the bounce of the ball. We're away again in the grand final. It's Thompson and Keenan. It comes down to Magro. His kick is smothered. It's picked up by Icky. Screws it back over his shoulder. Bridus and Manasseh neither could take the mark. Comes out to Hyde, who kicks the ball wide. It's at half back on the outer side. Barham and Simmelbush going after it. There's a one out. Simmelbush plays it in front of him. He slips over, and the ball has gone over the line and out of bounds. There'll be a free kick to Simmelbush. Grab without the ball. Excellent umpiring, Ian Robinson. 36 North Melbourne, 44 Collingwood. There's the kick by Simmelbush. He avoids full forward. Baker punched away by Manasseh. Back into open territory as Byrne comes in at it. Picked up by Blight. He gets a dribbling left foot kick. It's grabbed by Hyde close to the boundary line. He kicks the Maggies out of trouble. Back towards the half back line. Simmelbush again caught without the ball. No free kick this time. Play allowed to go on. It's picked up there by Wayne Richardson. He drives the Magpies out of trouble. Back towards the wing on the outer side. Dench and King punched away by Dench. King's recovery superb as Dench goes after it again. King scoops it out to Wearmouth. He has his head pulled off. Play on as he gets the hand pass to Magro. Keenan dropping back on Moore. Keenan nearly takes the mark. He's grabbed it and he's played on. He'll kick out of trouble a little bit slow, but he gets it back and Carlton went one hand, but luckily for him, backing up was Montgomery, and he takes the mark at half back. And the third set, the North Melbourne supporters breathe easy. 44 Collingwood, 36 North.
There's the kick by Tenner, half forward line. Thompson up, takes the mark, threads the hand pass very quickly to Shaw. He comes through the centre now, drives a long dot punt kick up to Moore and Croswell. Coming in behind Keenan to take the mark. Great mark there, Crackers Ken. Immediately gets the lead from Elves. Finds Elves. He's still 4 or 5, 15 metres in front of Gordon on the half-back flank. Elves slows down play now, using all his experience on the half-back flank. Croswell chipping across, but kick it long, Elves does. Looking there for Byrne. Byrne was tripped there. No free kick as Ireland comes back now. Picks it up just inside the boundary line, threads the hand pass across to Magro, who's been great in the centre, and turn a great hand pass there to Dunn. Dunn drives the ball up to centre half forward, Moore in front, punched away from Moore, it's on the ground, King comes through, he's retarded but he's still playing the ball along in front of him, turns round, puts left boot to ball, he puts it wide though, little bounce over the line and out of bounds for a throw in, left forward pocket for Collingwood, and we've played 9 minutes into the third term. Collingwood showing their ascendancies, Collingwood 6-8-44, North Melbourne 4-12-36, there's the throw in, and it's Moore gets it down towards Casson, but coming through very cleverly is Kink's got plenty of time to thread the handball back down to Shaw at centre half forward, who shoots for goal. It's drifting back in. It's through.
Well, that was good play then by Shaw. He backed himself in. I thought he could have gone for the handball across to Max Richardson, but he backed himself right in and had no trouble, under no pressure at all, in popping through Collingwood's 7th goal. They're looking a lot better, Collingwood, and I think the togetherness that had been lacking early in the Collingwood side is becoming very obvious.
10 minutes gone in the third term, and it's Collingwood 7-8-50, North Melbourne 4-12-36. The ball is kicked wide. Barham and Schimmelbusch go after it again. What a great duel they've had all day. Schimmelbusch had it. He is a true champion. He's got around him. Beautiful hand pass across the Blythe, who swoops in. Oh, he slips over in the practice cricket area. Gets up, drives it in towards full forward. Hick over the top, couldn't take the mark. Gott comes through, gets the ball out of the pack. The pack comes in again, and it's my ball, says John Sutcliffe. 11 minutes gone, third term, and Collingwood are 7 goals, 8-50. North 4-12-36. North Melbourne goalless since the first quarter. There's the bounce of the ball. Thompson goes in, thumps it away. Cable couldn't handle the football. Now he's tripped up in the forward pocket. There's no free kick. And it's going to be bounced.
I'm glad I take notes because I can't disagree with you on this occasion. I was writing.
There's the bounce of the ball. Up goes Peck and he thumps it away. Oh, it's picked up there by Blighty. Has a shot for goal. And he's just offline. And it's North Melbourne 4 goals, 13-37, kicking themselves out of the grand final. Collingwood at 7-8-50, 13 points the difference, 12 minutes gone, third term. And another can comes over the fence. Not good enough. As Worthington kicks in. He's good enough. To the members' side, and Dunn takes the mark, and they could have made a mistake by taking a bench off him and putting Sutton there. There's the kick by Dunn into open territory. Carlton and Wayne Richardson run for the ball. Carlton bumps, good play. Now he gets a hand pass. Oh, no, he went to get a hand pass, said no, and he was under tremendous pressure applied by Wearmouth, Wayne Richardson and Gordon. Boundary throw in. Keenan goes in against Dunn, and he gets it down too. Gordon leads in the race for the ball. Can he keep it in play? He taps it back. Oh, Shaw got a shove in the back, and we'll get a free kick. He ran into his own man. Free kick to Shaw on the members' wing. Collingwood 50, North Melbourne 37.
Shaw has just given it back to Gordon. They could raffle that one as Gordon comes in now. A high ball off the side of his boot. This will give a chance to Xavier Tanner. He should have marked that on his chest, but he gets the bounce of the ball. Comes up to centre half forward. Gets the short one, then finds Bridus at centre half forward. Just wide of centre half forward. Members' side. Bridus will now don't have a shot unless he gets some sort of spectacular lead from a teammate further afield. There's the lead coming from Cable, but it's ignored. Hyde's right on his hammer. Bridus comes in now to have a shot for goal. Drop punt kick, but it's off the side of the boot. A shocking kick. In fact, it's over the line and out of bounds on the full, and I think North Melbourne's confidence is shot, Doug.
Well, this is the sort of thing that's going to happen in football, and Lady Luck plays a very prominent part. We've emphasised that. My word, in this third quarter, North Melbourne aren't having any luck at all. Baker, Blight, Bride. There's 3 Bs, and I suppose their supporters would call them exactly that with their goal shooting.
Doug Gott in the last line of defence. A beautiful drop punt kick. There's Thompson up in front there. Can't mark. It's down to ground. Picked up by Casson. He was under a lot of pressure. Punched out of the pack. Very scrambly play on the half-forward line for North Melbourne. It's picked up there by Ick now. His kick's off the side of the boot. Once again, it's over the line and out of bounds on the full. I say bad kicking's bad football, but they're under a lot of pressure. And once again, it'll be Doug Gott to take the free kick.
Very pertinent comment, Clark Hansen, saying that they're under pressure. They're under extreme pressure. They've missed some deliberate ones, but those snapshots couldn't be under much more pressure as Gott plays it back towards half-back on the members' side, and Thompson marks over the top of Blight.
Sticky fingering at long last, Clint Thompson. He's holding them.
Plays on. Looks for King. Dench is there. Up over the top was Montgomery. Gathers it well. Gets the hand pass towards Henshaw. Is caught. Gets a hand pass away. Magro. What a goer. He'll drive them back. And he'll take... Oh, here he is. Kick all on his own. Takes the mark. Run on and kick a goal. Son, and he'll make a name for himself. He does. Runs in on open goal and puts it right through the centre. Oh, shocking play, Dench. Shut the gate. The Maggies will win it. And Collingwood go to 8-8-56. North Melbourne are 4 goals 13 and King's kicked his second.
This is Vintage Grandstand on ABC Radio and ABC Grandstand Digital.
And the Magpies doing it beautifully in this third term as he kicks it right out of the centre circle up towards centre half forward. Keenan is there and he takes the mark as Moore hangs on, but Croswell was helping to keep Moore away. Keenan kicks it wide, looks for Dench. He goes over the top, but Gordon's too tall and he takes the mark and he plays on and he kicks it off the side of his boot towards centre half forward. It bounces. In comes Montgomery. Can't get the run of the football. Comes back to him though. He goes after it. Grabbed by Cable, who throws it over his head towards Anderson. Anderson caught without the ball. Kicked away by Montgomery towards the members' wing. Elves in front. Oh! Down he goes and Gordon, you should...
Well, the punch missed. Look, it missed, and I don't think there was any need for Dench to do that.
No, and I can't understand why Dench has done that a couple of times today, Doug.
It was body contact. I mean, it was body contact then, and the blow that appeared to be thrown by Gordon made no contact at all with his opponent.
Well, I don't know. Ask Elves that, Doug. He looks pretty groggy.
He's up. It was body contact that did the business on Elves, not the punch, not the arm action.
15-metre penalty. Elves took the mark and was dealt with by Gordon, and Dench came in a little square up. 15-metre penalty. It's 58-37. The Magpies in front.
There's the kick. Oh, Picken misses it. Tries to take it on the volley. It comes in right on the boundary line. Screws the ball back up to the forward line for North Melbourne. There's nobody home. Gumbleton's coming out with Gott. It's through their legs, but Gott's backing up well. Oh, does it superbly. But he better get rid of the ball. He drops it. It comes down a wick. He gets the hand pass towards Casson. Casson across to Gumbleton, who'll shoot for goal, and it's hit the post. Well, that's indicative of the way North Melbourne's playing. They just can't do anything there. Gumbleton on an angle, but they saw plenty of daylight, lined it up and looked as if it was going to sneak in, but hit the post. So the scoreboard reading, North Melbourne 4-14-38, trailing Collingwood 8-10-58. So there's 20 points the difference here.
Dunn is there contesting with Keenan. Keenan gets it down, but it's sharked by Shaw. He's dispossessed by Cable. He goes in after it. Dunn dives on it. And umpire Robinson said, it's my football, I shall bounce it on the outer side wing. And we've played 27 minutes in the third term.
Yes, North Melbourne looking very tight. Keenan up in ruck, sends it down towards Cable, but he was dispossessed of the ball. Coming through there is Tanner under a lot of pressure. The ball's bouncing free now for Dench on the half-forward flank, but look at the kick. Oh, nearly a mark there to Wick, but backing up nicely was Gott. He's got to get through a few defenders there, including Byrne. Wow. And the free kick is going to Doug Gott. Why, gee, he's certainly slipped himself today. As
two lovely blind turns, and he ultimately had to be grabbed. The umpire couldn't help but see it.
There's the kick by Gott. He's looking for Magro out in that outer wing. Couldn't mark it. A little too small, but look at the way he recovers. Gets the hand pass to Max Richardson, who sends it up in the half-forward line. Anderson's got the run of the ball there, but chipping in nicely as Montgomery gets it across to Sutton. Sutton in turn across to Henshaw, across the half-back line. Henshaw can go for a run, gets the bounce, gives it to Cable. Henshaw should back him up, no, but slipping in nicely is Elves in the centre of the ground to take the handball. Nice chain of handballs there. Elves kick, high one up to the centre half-forward position, and a great mark there. Great mark to Worthington at centre half-back. He's the full-back, but he came out strong. He immediately plays on. Ray Shaw making beautiful position to open up play for Collingwood. Has a couple of bounces and he comes up from half-back flank up into the wing, puts it in short, looking there for Barrowman. Oh, beautiful mark. He takes on, has a couple of bounces, he's opened it up, sends it in towards goal, and he's put it through. He's put it through. Great play, Collingwood, from the defence. Oh, yes, that's Ricky Barham's first goal after a slow start. He's certainly putting in the good one for Collingwood. Collingwood racing away now from a tired-looking North Melbourne. It's nearly time here, three-quarter time. Scoreboard, Collingwood 9-12-66, North Melbourne 4-15-39. Doug Bigelow.
He satisfied his lust for a goal in Barham. I felt had he missed it, those cheers could have turned to jeers because Kink was all on his own. Only would have been a shorthand pass and Kink could have done the rest. Good luck to you, Bill. It went through luckily.
Thompson gets the tap down. It's knocked on by Dunn. The chance for Wearmouth. He goes in after the football. He kicks it wide. They've got to run for it. Henshaw leads in the race for the ball. Can he get there first? He does. He gets put over by Wayne Richardson. Oh, they lose the run of the ball. It's picked up by Shaw, and the Magpies can't do anything wrong. Moore and Croswell takes the mark and does it very well indeed. Bump Moore out, takes the mark. Shimmerbush leads down towards half-back on the outer side, and he takes the mark in front of Barham. Shimmerbush plays it wide looking for Tanner as Magro's got the fly, punches the ball away. He's a terrier, but Cable comes in. They're putting pressure on him. Down they go. Free kick to Cable.
What? Beautiful play, Magro. The free kick possibly there.
Greg Brown wants a cigarette. 9-12-66. Collingwood 4 goals, 15-39. And we've played 30 minutes in the third term. And the Magpies looking pretty good. North Melbourne goalless since the first quarter as Cable with the football on the outer wing. Drives it in towards centre half forward. Oh, and Brightus has pushed Manasseh right in the middle of the back to take the mark, and it's a free kick to Manasseh.
Manasseh knew all about it.
Brightus throws the footy away. The umpire gives him a 15-metre penalty, and he says it's time, three-quarter time in the grand final, and plenty of joy in the Magpie supporters as they go into the last term with a lead. Collingwood 9-12-66, leading North Melbourne 4 goals, 15-39. It's Collingwood 66 to North Melbourne 39. Goal kickers for Collingwood. Moore has 4. Kink has 2. 1 each to Anderson, Shaw and Barham. And for North Melbourne, Baker 3, Dench 1, all kicked in the first quarter.
On ABC Radio and ABC Grandstand Digital. This is Vintage Grandstand.
Three-quarter time in the 1977 VFL Grand Final. Collingwood by 27 points. Coming up the final quarter. Plus we'll hear from Peter Moore, the Collingwood champion, and Wayne Shimmerbush, the North Melbourne champ. Stay with us on Vintage Grandstand.
This is David Rowlands with ABC News. A public health alert has been issued after another confirmed case of coronavirus in Queensland. The state's health minister says the cruise ship passenger flew on a Qantas flight from Melbourne to Brisbane on the 22nd of April. The new case takes Queensland's total to 1,034, with 63 still active. Stephen Miles says anyone on flight QF614 is urged to contact health authorities.
They won't all be required to quarantine, but they will be all provided with health advice and asked some questions about their health since that flight on the 22nd of April. And those who were in close proximity of that passenger may be asked to quarantine by our public health officials.
Victoria's health minister is defending not naming a meat processing plant in Melbourne, which has been the subject of a recent coronavirus outbreak. 8 staff have tested positive to COVID-19, with the facility now closed as thorough cleaning takes place. Victoria has recorded 7 new cases of coronavirus overnight, including 3 from the meat processing plant. Health Minister Jenny Mikakos says she won't name the facility as there is no risk to the public or food safety.
The department's policy is to provide the details if they believe that there is a public health risk to do that. And given that all the staff are being tested, all the close contacts are being followed up by the department's public health team, there is no need to name the facility.
South Australia and Western Australia have both reported no new cases of coronavirus today. It's the 10th consecutive day that South Australia has registered 0 and the 3rd in a row for WA. New South Wales has had just 5 new cases of COVID-19 in the past 24 hours, bringing that state's total to 3,031. Of those, just over 315 are still recovering from the virus. Meanwhile, police have charged 3 people under the New South Wales Public Health and issued 7 COVID-19 related penalty infringement notices in the past 24 hours. Among them was a 27-year-old man from Potts Point who was charged with 10 offences, including spitting at police and paramedics. National parks in the top end are filled with visitors after the NT government this week relaxed coronavirus restrictions. Melissa McKay reports.
Tourism hotspots across the top end have been teeming with visitors since coronavirus restrictions began to lift in the Northern Territory at midday yesterday. Campers have been set up at Litchfield National Park with swimming holes at capacity before lunchtime today. Police and rangers have been patrolling the parks and say overall visitors have been well behaved, keeping their distance from others and enjoying their newfound freedom.
Overseas now, and a New York City nursing home says nearly 100 of its residents have now died, believed to be victims of COVID-19. Most of the deaths at the Isabella Geriatric Centre in Upper Manhattan have occurred in recent days, after its death toll stood at just 13 on Wednesday. Staff have reportedly been overwhelmed and families left uninformed about the fate of relatives. The centre ordered a refrigerated truck to store bodies as funeral parlours were full. The COVID-19 death toll in New York City has now passed 18,000. To other news, and North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un has been seen in public for the first time in close to 3 weeks, ending questions about whether he was still in charge of the nuclear-armed country. Here's China correspondent Bill Birtles.
Kim Jong-un shows a fertiliser factory in a city north of Pyongyang to tell the world he's okay. Multiple still pictures released by the state news agency show him cutting a ceremonial ribbon and laughing with officials. Unlike a previous disappearance 6 years ago, there was no sign of a walking stick, and the 36-year-old looks well. His temporary disappearance from public view prompted contrasting reports of ill health and brought into sharp focus the lack of a clear successor for the regime. Bill Birtles, ABC News, Beijing.
The Commissioner of the town of Port Hedland in WA's Pilbara says the community will recover from a stabbing rampage that injured several people and ended with police shooting dead the attacker. One man remains in a critical condition at Royal Perth Hospital following yesterday's attack. He was one of seven people injured by a fly-in, fly-out worker who was shot dead by police inside the South Hedland Square shopping centre. Former North West MP Fred Reibeling was appointed as Commissioner of Port Hedland last year. He says the community is a resilient one and those affected by the attack will receive strong support.
You know, all those people that were injured, my heart goes out to them and their families, and we hope they all recover significantly and quickly, and you know, the community can get back and rally around them.
ABC News.
Nice bit of shepherding by Freem Bartlett. Goal. It's a goal. No. Yes, it is.
Boots in towards goal. He's got Hudson. Centering kick for Brownless. Sets himself. Ablett's marked it.
You watch the fight, Doug. I'll watch the footy.
Lock it. Left foot. Goal. Look at that big pack of players. Great mark to Royce Hart.
Compton picks up the ball, slams it goal, and puts it through.
Sheldon picks it up. Runs it all over goal. Who's there? Schimmelbusch and Bremner. In comes Ekin Knights. Takes the magnificent mark right over the top.
On ABC Radio and ABC Grandstand Digital.
Oh, there's the siren.
This is Vintage Grandstand.
Nice to have your company on Vintage Grandstand. We're replaying out of the ABC archives the commentary of the 1977 VFL Grand Final, the drawn Grand Final between North Melbourne and Collingwood. Alistair Nicholson, Matt Clinch and Mark McClure with you. We're at three-quarter time in the game and Collingwood has jumped out to a 27-point lead, and all the talk about the collie wobbles and the long drought to win a premiership and becoming the first team to go from last to first is starting to bubble in the MCG crowd. Peter Moore, the dual Brownlow medalist, is going to join us in just a moment, but your SMSs have been coming in on 0437 774 774. Lots of memories of this match. Paul Baines has been enjoying the commentary, says Tomo had 3 bites of the avocado. Smokey Dawson, bring that back as well. Kingy says, have you spoken to Xavier Tanner? He was massive in the last quarter. Ripping nice guy too. Sellers played a superb game that day, Xavier Tanner, didn't he? Absolutely.
He was brilliant. I thought he was best on ground.
And then on 0437 774 774, fascinating story here from Jungle Jim. Finally, I hear the game, he says, was hitchhiking through Africa in 1977. Pies fanatic, Aussie Embassy in Lagos, Nigeria, informed me of the draw, but it was the American consul in Bangui, the then Central African Empire, who gave me the yet again heartbreak news about the replay loss. Thanks for the broadcast, fellas. So that's from Jungle Jim with an interesting story about where he was during the time. this has come in from Sean in New South Wales. He says, next Saturday, can you please replay Richmond and Port Adelaide from round 10, 2010 at Football Park? I'm enjoying this match right at the moment. Thank you. Good on you, Sean. We'll add it to the list. Thanks for all your contributions, whether on Twitter.
Was that a grand final?
Just a regular season match, Sellers. We'll have to dig deep into the archives for that one.
Finals,
grand finals are easy to find, Sellers.
The ABC Archives has got some great games in there, but they are a little bit randomly selected at times, so it's not always the classics in which you'd expect. I also got this one from Loretta on Twitter, enjoying the 1977 grand final memories, but it's reminding me how much I miss Stan Elves and Drew Morford. If there's a better Saturday afternoon combo than them with Jared, I'll go he. Apologies to Al, Matt and Rama. That's okay. We did reach out to Stan Elves, and he's got some family stuff he's dealing with at the moment, so he decided he wasn't really in a position to come on air. But what a great grand final he had in 1977. Watching the replay over the last 24 hours, he got a lot of the footy off half back.
Sure did. He came from Melbourne and went to North Melbourne. It was in one of the pickups, and there was a few others there, Doug Wade as well, and Rantel and Barry Davis and Barry Cable, and they had, gee whiz, they picked up some ripping players, a lot of plastic, a lot of paper bags full of cash, I think, at that stage. and Stan would have got one of those too. But and good on him. So he had some joy, because Melbourne were actually struggling at that stage. They've been a poor team, and to go to somewhere where it's lively, you've got a great coach and a dynamic coach, and a bunch of players who want to win one. That's the space you want to be in.
Well, Wayne Gordon played on Stan Alves that day, and we were talking a little earlier with Billy Picken about Tommy Hafey's reluctance to make moves. Well, Ron Barassi certainly made a lot of moves, but Gordon stayed on Alves essentially all day, whereas Barassi, as the game wore on, he pulled a number of triggers. Malcolm Blight benched at three-quarter time. Bill Nettlefold comes onto the field. Darryl Sutton will be moved to full forward in the last quarter. David Dench goes into the forward line as well. And Brent Croswell, the person we're about to speak to, Peter Moore, was absolutely dominant in the first half of this game. Brent Croswell went to full back to play on him in the second half. And I'm very happy to say that Peter Moore has joined us on Vintage Grandstand, the dual Brownlow medalist. Peter, thanks for your time.
Great to be with you guys. Enjoyed the last quarter. I was listening to it. It was great. The commentary's fantastic and no ads. So it was great.
Yeah, that's how you get it on the ABC.
Yeah.
It's terrific to hear Smokey Dawson and Clark Hansen and Doug Bigelow broadcasting the game, Peter. You were absolutely on fire in the first half of this match. Do you look back on, even though Collingwood didn't win the replay, if you look at across the course of the 2 weeks, you played two superb matches, kicked 9 goals through the 2 games as well. Do you still have some fond memories from your own personal performance?
Oh, yeah, I do. Well, it's great to play my first grand final was the first thing, but I was only 20 and Tommy had just taken over as coach from the year before. In 78 was the last year of Wood, and Tommy had taken over at the end of that year for the 77 season and took us from wooden spooners to the grand final. So, I was in a spin. I thought it was fantastic. We just got to play in the finals and made a grand final. So probably at that stage not really able to comprehend the significance of it, but rather than just happy to be there and hoping to, make a contribution.
What he did, it was different, Pete.
Oh, I think it was just training, Sellers. He just trained us hard. We were probably one of the hardest training teams in the AFL. He was a Percy Cerity devotee, and he thought the harder you went, the stronger you got, the better you played, which is, to some extent, was probably true early because we clearly weren't fit enough, and just the discipline and the his approach, his uncompromising approach, and he was he's a real pro as a coach, and limited, I guess, in some respects in terms of as you said about what Billy was mentioning about his flexibility and tactics and whatever, but it was pretty simple game plan, and you had to be really fit to play that way, and it was a high pressure game plan and kick it long, so it was simple and it worked all right for us.
It did work all right, but then you play a grand final, which is a big up in your efforts and all those sorts of things after 22 rounds and 4 finals, and then you have a big hard week training again. Did it flatten you?
Yeah, that was very disappointing. The training, I think, Sellers, we trained so hard that we got to that before that first grand final, the drawn grand final, we had a big Thursday night even then, an hour and a half and contesting work and all sorts of stuff, which is unheard of today. The fitness guys would go nuts if they tried to do that today. We were tackling, full pressure bills, on a Thursday night. And that's to some extent when we listen to the last quarter coming up, we really did run out of legs. North came hard, and Zab Tanner was great, and a few other players. Lifton Barassi was, moving the chess pieces all over the place to try and find something, and he did, and they found it. But I think we also sort of faded a bit as well, as we tended to do, and I think that was a bit related to the training. But certainly the second game, the replay, we had a massive week of training, and on top of everything that had, the full big season and a huge grand final the week before, we were just flat as a tack for that game, and it was, really disappointing, where Barras was very light on the North guys and really just tuned them up to try and freshen them up as much as they could, and they played that way. So, yeah, tactically probably wasn't Tommy's finest hour, but still we made it. We never would have made it without that sort of ethic that he brought.
I think it's a pretty good summation, because they had 12 shots at goal in the last quarter to your 5. You kicked 1-4 to 5-7, and they just they drew the game. That was the difference.
I reckon that's right, Sellers. And if you listen to it, you'll see our midfield was starting to slow. They to run out of gas, and they just we just weren't fresh enough. And Stan was flogging Flash on the wing there. So they had too many sort of winners through the middle of the ground, and we just we never got a look at it. Crosser will take the credit for quieting me down, but I don't think I saw a whole lot of the ball in that last quarter. But he'll claim it. That's all right, then.
What was he like to play on, Peter?
Well, I only played him that once. He was playing full forward that day, and he wasn't seeing a lot of the ball either. So he came down, and I was really getting good supply early, particularly, and I think I kicked a few points as well. So, I got plenty of opportunities. And then once Ron moved Croswell down, they also had crackers dropping back on me. So I had 2 or 3 on me. They had a triple team going on. So they were really focused, which wasn't bad in the end, because it freed Twiggy up, and also Renee King to sort of get involved as well. But when Twiggy took that mark right at the end, I flew in that pack, and I had the top half of the ball, and I looked down, I was sort of at the top of the pack, and Twiggy had the bottom half, so I just collapsed the pack on top of him, sort of shoved the ball down to Twiggy, and Twiggy sort of came out of the bottom of the pack with the ball. Thank God, because I didn't want that shot. I wasn't looking forward to taking that shot, and I remember a funny story. Twiggy lines up, and I'm standing next to Wayne Richardson, and Twiggy used to kick these dirty, flat mongrel punch, the old Doug Wade. He's lining up like he's going to kick a torp, and I said to Wayne, he's not going to kick a torp, is he? And Richo said, no, he'll just kick a flat mongrel and straight as an arrow, and he did exactly that. It laconically wandered in and slammed it through the middle, and we drew the game. So it was, we were lucky to draw it, I think, ourselves, because they were coming hard, and they were clearly running over us in the last quarter. So it was a good fighting effort to get back and claim a draw, but then, we really didn't have much chance after that.
Hey, Pete, you're getting some joy out of your son now. He's playing very well. He's gone to centre-half back, and he's really holding down a spot and setting a tone for the Collingwood side. He was floundering a bit at full forward, and I remember we talked about it, and he's going to be a player, this kid.
I'm pleased to see him, settling into a position. I mean, it's just been hard with getting through the injuries and getting himself to a point where he's strong enough, to play. I think his issue is, he's 6'8" and fast. So when you're too fast and that tall, it's difficult. You've got to sort of really train for it. So I think he's got that sorted now. So I liked him up forward. I think he'll probably go back there at some stage. But at the time he was playing up forward, Collingwood's game plan really didn't help.
Have you spoken to his manager? Will he stay?
I'm not allowed to speak to his manager. I'm not allowed to speak to him about anything. I'm only allowed to ask about uni. I can't talk about football. So, been sacked completely. So he's a fairly smart boy, and he's just told me that my opinions are valued, but he doesn't really need to hear them. So.
I suppose you said that to your dad too.
No, he's got his career, and I'm happy for him to have it and see what he does. But he's been playing well, so hopefully he gets another chance this year. It's a bit disappointing about this suspension of the season, because he was primed to really go well. He had a great summer and was looking really good. So hopefully he can catch that form back again as they get going.
Peter, it's Matt Clinch here. What about the similarities, I guess, in terms of your career as you're a forward, and then with Len Thompson leaving the club, you moved into that ruck role and sort of changed your career, so to speak?
That's right. Well, actually, I started as a centre-half back, would you believe? I played centre-half back for the first couple of seasons just to find a spot for me to play because I was young. I was only like 17 or something. So there really wasn't a spot except centre-half back. So I played under Weed at centre-half back, which I thought was quite good. Always easy to play down back, as Sal's will tell you. Always easier down there than up forward. And then I moved, when Tommy came, I moved to full forward, mainly just for my marking ability, a bit of a one-dimensional forward in the sense that I really just took a big mark, was about the only way I scored, but it was enough to kick quite a lot of goals. So that worked well for a couple of years, and then I was always sort of waiting to get the opportunity to get into the ruck, which is where I wanted to play. And when Tomo moved on, I got the chance, and that's when I won my first round. That was that first year, so it really was like getting let out of jail, getting on the ball. That's even easier than playing full back,
So, of course, you've won the two Brownlows. What about a premiership, though? That was sort of the part that eluded you. How did you sort of sit with that at the end of your career?
Oh, disappointing because I thought we had fairly... had 5 grand finals I played in, one draw, and for four losses and one draw. So, it was disappointing at the time. When you look back now, though, to get to play in, 4 final series and some assorted other finals as well, probably 20-odd finals games, that was, a great thing to do, and I was very lucky to get that opportunity to be in good enough teams to get that chance. But yeah, the lack of a win in a grand final was disappointing. And you always want to finish your career as a premiership player. I know Sellers had a couple of them, and they were. It's really what makes your career. The individual awards are a bit of a raffle. You might win a few here and there, but it's just luck really whether you win those. And in the end of the day, they don't mean a whole lot, but certainly to play in a premiership team is a disappointing achievement that I didn't have, unfortunately.
So when Collingwood lost to Carlton in 1981, what did you do with your runners-up medal?
Well, actually, I didn't remember the incident really. I forgot about that, but then somehow on the front bar they've dragged the archive footage out, and I didn't throw it into the crowd. I just threw it down beside the podium. So I think someone at the AFL got it. But I've been involved in a few losses, and most of them end up in the rubbish bin in the room. So nobody wants one.
There were a few souvenirs that day, weren't there, Pete? Because I seem to recall, particularly in the first half of the game, watching it back, just about every goal that gets kicked, someone pinches the footy in the crowd and they have to go and get another one. Was that normal that would happen back in the day, that the footies would go missing all the time?
I think it's pretty common in the grand finals. They never got them back, and they didn't have the bag of balls behind the goal, so you had to wait for the umpire to run out with a new ball. But yeah, no, there's plenty of balls going missing. I think it was. I think that's mostly at the Collingwood end.
And finally, Peter, watching the replay, it was incredible with 3.5 minutes to go that you were 7 points down. Do you have a memory was there any communication as to how long there was to go in the game? Were you aware of it?
No, I wasn't aware of where the time was at because I was just, you're really just focused on the moment, just trying to get the ball. But I think in one of those, I spun out of the pack with the ball on my left foot, and I actually had room to run in and kick the goal, but I took a snap on the left foot and just missed. And looking back on it, I thought, God, if I just run in, but you can't hear a thing. When you're out there, the noise is deafening. So the guys were probably calling for me that I was clear, but I just couldn't hear it. So you look back at the replay and think, oh my God, why didn't I just keep running? But you just don't know whether you're about to get tackled or what's going to happen. So yeah, it was. It's sort of a bit surreal. You're not that conscious of the time. You're just trying to play as hard as you can and try to get at least get a contest going and hopefully make a contribution when it matters. But certainly they're fantastic games to play, and whether you win or lose, it's disappointing to lose, but it's great to be there.
It's a great experience. And,
it is.
You've been in 5 of them, so you're better off than most people in the world, I can assure you.
Yeah, that's what I think, and I just now I'm happy to have been there. And I was really get a big thrill out of seeing Darcy get that chance, to play in finals. It's really just great to see him get the opportunity, and I hope they get a few more before he's finished.
Brilliant speaking with you, Pete.
Good on you, Pete.
Okay, guys, great to talk to you, and I'll listen to the last quarter with interest.
All right, good on you.
Wonder what happened.
Have a listen to that pack mark that you helped out with Twiggy late in the game.
So
Thanks very much, Peter Moore there, the dual Brownlow medalist with us on Vintage Grandstand.
So they cheated for the pack mark. Should have been a ball up.
Ex-Carlton captain calling a Collingwood player a cheat. I don't know how that's going to go down, Sellers, particularly in the Latchford household, because K.A. Latchford has sent us a tweet. Loving the replay and the interviews. Mad Pie's family and my mum, who is 91, was there. Loving it. And the atmosphere you hear, the crowd in this final quarter, is absolutely extraordinary. I think there were 108,000 people there from memory, Clinchy, and it just absolutely erupts. So without further ado, let's hand you over to the final quarter of the 1977 VFL Grand Final, the first Grand Final between North Melbourne and Collingwood in 77. The famous draw, the scores are 4-15-39 North Melbourne, Collingwood 9-12-66, a 27-point lead to the Magpies.
Worthington kicks the ball to himself and plays on, opens up play and he finds Ireland. On the point of the square, he marks on his chest. Heath plays on. Always kicks a shocker. Grabs along the ground. Gives Henshaw the chance. He comes through strongly. Drives North Melbourne back into attack, but it's all Collingwood. Magro. Hasn't played a bad game at all, the little fellow on the pivot. And he's marked at centre half back for the Magpies. Magro plays it wide, looking for King. Gumbolton is there. Takes the good mark. Goes up, gets the hand pass to Nettlefold. Nettlefold on in place of Blight. Drives North Melbourne deep into attack, and there's a great mark taken by Sutton over the top of Gott. Sutton playing an attack in this last term, as is Dench, and Nick has gone back to centre half back. Well, they desperately need a goal. They're trailing by 27 points, 4 minutes into the last quarter. They need a goal, North Melbourne, to get back into the game. They haven't scored one since quarter time as Sutton comes in. They have now. He's put it right through the centre. Could that be the start of a North Melbourne revival? A goal kicked by Sutton. And North Melbourne go to 5 goals, 16-46, trailing Collingwood 9-13-67. They've got the first goal of the last term, Doug. Can they come back?
Well, there's no doubt about Barras. He tries everything in the book, and he should be rattling a little bit with his side's performance, but he's very composed, and that move by Barras from Sutton from defence into attack has paid dividends very, very quickly. Full credit to North Melbourne and their brains trust for making that one. He's made plenty.
First North Melbourne goal since the first quarter. Keenan in the back of Thompson at the centre bounce was silly, although Tomo positioned himself well. Thompson drives Collingwood into attack. Out comes Moore. Oh, nearly the mark to Moore. He's got the recovery. Montgomery, though, brilliantly done. Threads his way through the pack up towards Byrne. Magro can't mark it. Off the pack. Coming through is Dench at centre half forward. His kick's a shocker, though. Aiding over the back is Baker. He runs into an open goal and scores a goal. Fourth goal to Baker. And North Melbourne can't kick a goal second and third terms. They've got 2 in the first 5 minutes of the last quarter. The scoreboard reading: Collingwood 9-13-67, North Melbourne 6-16-52. I thought they were a spent force, but they're not. They're coming back, Doug.
I don't think they were a spent force at all, and this game, as a good grand final is, and this one certainly has been, has got all the ingredients, because this crowd in this last term of football has really lifted. It's been pretty exciting all day. They've had plenty to talk about, plenty to think about, and plenty to see. But my word, North Melbourne throwing it right back at Collingwood.
15 points the difference. Keenan gets it down to Nettlefold. He's kicked nearly smothered by Shaw. Byrne gets the hand pass off astray, but he recovers himself. Pops it over to Bridus, who marks. Plays on. No, he doesn't. He was going, but he went back. And Bridus has marked. Sutton made position. Bridus said, I'm going to kick it myself. 60 metres out from goal in the slightest of angles. Arnie boy, you better do it because you had the chance. He comes in. Drop punt on its way. It's offline. And through from behind.
I think he lost confidence when he juggled it and didn't know whether to go on or not. That's the way the pressure football's been.
Yes, well, you've got to make your mind up very, very quickly, and I felt that was Bridus' game to have played on then, because it could have been a different result.
Collingwood are 9 goals, 13-67. North Melbourne 6-17-53. 14 points the difference. 6 minutes gone, final term, as Worthington kicks out to the outer side. He's looking for Thompson, who's in front, and he's taken the mark. He's taken it splendidly. At half back on the outer side, the big fellow, and how many marks Bruce Green for Tomo. 8 marks for the big fellow. Back to the wing on the outer side. Thumped away by Gumbleton down towards Cable. It goes over his head. Grabbed by Nettlefold. Hand pass. Nearly intercepted by Magro. It'll be a free kick to North Melbourne. Wide up the centre, between the centre and the wing. The player getting up from the bottom of the pack is Tanner. As Alf's mate, position on his own. The lead ignored. Tanner's going straight down the ground. That's the only way home today as Baker comes out. Oh, off the hands of the pack. Brown's tickle for Bridus. Oh, Manassa hand passes straight to bench and he's kicked the goal.
Incredible.
Manassa hand pass straight to bench. And North Melbourne go to 7 goals, 17-59. North Melbourne, 7-17-59. Dench has kicked his second goal. Collingwood, 9-13-67. 8 points the difference in the grand final. 7 minutes gone, final term. And you wouldn't want to know, Barras might have done it again as Betts is going to take his tracksuit off for the Magpies.
I don't know whether Barras has done it, but Manassa did then for North Melbourne. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. He must have got the colours mixed.
Oh, what an atmosphere here at the MCG. 110,000 fans screaming as Tomo punches it further field. Gets a Carlton. Carlton gets it cleverly across to Henshaw. North Melbourne into attack on their little side there. Up goes Gordon. He can't mark it. Picked up by Manassa. He relieves, puts it up onto the half-forward line. A good safe mark to Gumbleton on his chest. He gets the hand pass to Ick, who's back in defence. Good smother there by Anderson. Comes there to Wayne Richardson. He can't capitalise on the situation, and the pack develops, and umpire Sutcliffe comes in and says, I'll bounce it. Oh, what a game here it is. North Melbourne, when everybody thought Collingwood were getting on top, North Melbourne have come back with 2 quick goals. There's the bounce. Gumbleton gets the tap down, but it's wide. Coming through now is Henshaw. Picks it up, puts it onto the centre half forward. Sutton up, can't mark. Comes down to Cassidy's grab. We're not in possession of the football, and we'll get the free kick. Is it Collingwood's turn to get rattled? In the centre square, Casson. Waste no time, putting it up into the full forward area. Where are the North Melbourne forwards? Baker up high, can't mark. He's been awarded the free kick for the mark. What a sensation here at the MCG. No, it's Bridus has been awarded a free kick for an infringement in that pack.
Gott's in plenty of trouble. Thompson's calling for a stretcher. And Gott's in plenty of trouble.
Oh, yes, and I'm in plenty of trouble too.
Aren't we all?
9 minutes gone into the last term. Collingwood 9-13-67. North Melbourne 7-17-59. The free kick to Bridus in that pack. He's on an angle. One wonders whether he's got the confidence, because he has been a little down today, Bridus. This weight will not help him at all either, I don't think.
We might explain that they're waiting for the injured player Gott to be taken off the ground on a stretcher. As soon as it happened, Thompson signalled to the Collingwood camp that he needed attention. The Collingwood doctor is going round towards the rooms, and Doug Gott, what a tragedy. It's a leg injury of some description. The pack came down on top of him, and Doug Gott being taken off on a stretcher. Bridus has the ball. He's 30 metres out from goal. Betts comes on for Collingwood.
Bridus comes in. Big Thompson on the ruck, in on the mark, and he kicks for goal. We'll wait for it. I think it might be offline. Yes, it's offline. And through from behind, and boy, has he lost confidence. That's his 5th behind of the match. And it's Collingwood 9-13-67, North Melbourne 7-18. That will take us up to 60. And there's only 7 points the difference as Worthington kicks out to the outer side.
Looking for Thompson, but he's behind on this occasion. It comes down towards Dunnett. He gets a short distance kick in. It's grabbed by Tanner. He'll put North Melbourne back into attack. It's bouncing free over the top of the pack. Can anyone get there? Thumped away. They're going after it with tons of determination. Beautiful shepherding as Dench grabs the ball, straightens up and puts it on its way offline. And what good shepherding by Baker. But a behind kick by Dench, and North Melbourne go to 7 goals, 19-61. Collingwood 9-13-67. 6 points the difference. 12 minutes gone, final term.
Well, if you want to see a bit of settling down from the Collingwood camp, now's the time for their supporters to be expecting it.
Worthington kicks into the outer side of the ground, looking for Thompson again. He leads close to the boundary line. He's over the top, couldn't hold the mark, off hands, and it's out of bounds for a throw-in. Half forward, outer side.
Did you notice that kick then by Worthington, the way it held up in the breeze? Maybe North Melbourne could be aided by a slight breeze.
There's the boundary throw-in. Keenan all over the top of Thompson, and he's got the free kick, Tomo, at half back on the outer side.
The wind has changed, Clark, now that you mentioned it.
There's the kick by Thompson. Back in towards the centre. Tanner's the chance. Couldn't hold the mark. Icks kick smothered. Comes to Max Richardson. He'll put the Maggies into attack. And there's 4 men on the Collingwood side of the ground. In comes Montgomery. Anderson tripped over. Montgomery grabbed without the ball. Free kick to Montgomery at half back on the outer side. Anderson still hanging on. Collingwood 9 goals, 13-67. North Melbourne 7-19-61. 6 points the difference. 13 minutes gone, final term. The kick by Montgomery getting pretty short too. And there's a mark for Collingwood. Taken by Wayne Richardson on the outer wing. Wow, what a grand final. The Magpies hanging in and on and two. They lead by 6 points as Wayne Richardson kicks the ball right up towards half forward. Another 70-metre one, Kevin. Punched out of the pack. Henshaw goes after it and it's out of bounds for a throw in at half back on the outer side for North Melbourne with the Magpies deep into attack.
Oh, yes, it's anybody's game at the moment. Collingwood on the half-forward line. It's Keenan up against Dunn. Nicely done to Cable. He puts it into the centre looking for Dench. Dench up, couldn't mark it. Coming through there is Ireland. Comes round in the arc. Will put it wide. He'll find player there as Ireland is running for it now. Chipping in nicely is Schimmelbusch. Look at the pace of this boy. He's got too much pace for Ireland. Puts it in short. Sutton had the sun in his eyes. But it's on the North Melbourne half-forward line. Chipping in now is Byrne, picks it up, sends it into Baker, who's by himself. He can run right in and kick a goal here, and he does! And that's his fifth! Oh, North Melbourne really streaming home. The scores are dead level. Dead level at the 14-minute mark of the last quarter. That's Baker's fifth goal. The scoreboard reading North Melbourne 8-19-67. Collingwood 9-13-67.
Well, I was watching the pace of Schimmelbusch, and how did Baker become to be left alone down there? Did you see how that happened?
No.
I'm
what
blown
great
if I
play
did.
by Schimmelbusch, Doug. He
Oh,
set
it
that
was.
up. Hey, where did he come from and how did he do it?
That's dream stuff for Baker. He could not possibly have missed that game. Scores are level at the MCG.
15 minutes gone in the grand final. 9-13-67. Collingwood 8-19-67 North. There's the bounce. Thompson gets the hit down, but it's knocked away by Tanner. Gives Magro the chance, though. He throws the ball high in the air. Knocked away. Here's the chance for Arnold. He fumbles. Metalfile dives on it, and North Melbourne are right back on top in the grand final as umpire Sutcliffe calls for a bounce. Oh, what a tremendous revival by the Kangaroos. They've kicked 4. Collingwood goalless. They've kicked 1 point in the first 15 minutes of the last quarter. It comes down towards Wayne Richardson. He drives the Maggies forward. Scores a level. Marked by Montgomery. Now he drops the centre. It comes Twiggy down. He runs into an open goal. And he's put it through. 4 behind. From point blank range, he ran into an open goal. And he missed the centre, and the Magpies lead by 1 point.
Vintage Grandstand on ABC Radio and ABC Grandstand Digital.
Bond is warming up for Collingwood. It's 1 point the difference. And Thurl Merritt is chewing on the end of his pipe on the Collingwood bench. And here's a North Melbourne player on his own. Who is it? Briders again. He's marked. He drives it right in towards full forward. Leapers, please. Where are they? Baker. And he's marked. Baker's marked. He's 15 metres out from goal directly in front. Greg Brown's gone for another cigarette. He's got no more fingernails. And it's 1 point the difference. North Melbourne 8-22-70. Collingwood 9-15-69. Baker point blank range. He's kicked 5. Will it be 6? He comes in and he's put it through. It's a goal. And North Melbourne lead. North Melbourne lead by 7 points. What a fantastic last quarter. North Melbourne 9-22-76. Collingwood 9-15-69. 24 minutes played in the last quarter. Anderson's off. And Bond on for Collingwood. 7 points the difference, and Crackers Keenan is all fired up.
Well, 23 minutes of play, as you said, Graham, and they've certainly got their tails up North Melbourne. In the way that they've delivered the football in this last quarter and got about the game is a great credit to the club and the footballers. They've done it beautifully.
Approaching time on. North Melbourne by 7 points. Keenan gets it down there to Casson. Beautifully smothered along. Hand pass there by Bond. Montgomery's got it smothered again in the centre square. It's on Collingwood's attacking zone. Magro tries to come through. Picked up by Montgomery. Puts it wide on the member side wing. Barham goes after it. Cable coming in with Hyde, but it's over the line. Out of bounds with Schimmelbusch also coming in to lend a hand. Oh, it's 25 minutes gone now here at the MCG. Only time on to play, something like 3, 4, 5 minutes. Who knows? Just keep playing both teams. There's Thompson, gets it down nicely, but he finds Casson. Casson comes around the member's wing, screws it in, but it's over the line. He was looking for Dench then, and Picken was there. Over the line, out of bounds on the full. Free kick to Picken. Pickens kicks a high one. A punt kick around the member side wing. Up go the pack. Nobody can get it. Sparked nicely by Bond. Sends it down towards Barham. Barham's got the pace in front of Henshaw, forcing it around. Good play, Barham. He couldn't pick it up, but at least he forced it into the North Melbourne danger zone. Half-forward flank, right half-forward flank for Collingwood, with 7 points in favour of North Melbourne, and we're in the time-on period now. There's the throw-in with Keenan and Moore over the back. Oh, coming through there is Tanner. He has a bounce, has a couple of bounces now. He comes through the centre. He's got Cable in front of him. He's going to keep possession of this football. Puts it wide, looking for Baker and Bridus, and Baker has marked. Half-forward flank out of side.
And the Kangaroos have gone wild, and so have their supporters. And not much cheering from the Magpie fans now. 25 and a half minutes gone, final term. North Melbourne lead by 7 points as Baker's about 85 metres out. He kicks the shocker right off the side of the boot. Betts goes after it. Did he bounce? He touched it out. Yes, right on the line. It may have gone out on the full had he let it go. A boundary throw in. 30 metres round from the North Melbourne goal. Thompson goes in. Gets it down towards Wayne Richardson. He kicks the ball back in towards the centre. Knocked away, but it comes to Casson. Casson goes for a pass. Here it is. Over the head of Baker. Plenty of Collingwood defenders. In comes one of them all, and he plays the ball along in front of Dench. Dench goes after it again. Grabbed by Dench. Taken off him by Montgomery. Montgomery drives it right in towards full forward. Thompson's waiting for the big mark. Can't hold it. Chance here for Manasseh. He's got the ball. He's had a run. He's had a bounce. He comes to centre half back. Into the centre of the ground. He puts it right on the chest of Carlton. And Carlton march for North Melbourne. And Alves is all on his own on the outer wing, calling for it. And Carlton sees him and finds him. And Stanley will take his time. A veteran, a former Melbourne skipper. And North Melbourne lead by 7 points. 27 minutes gone in the last quarter. And he goes for a short pass, and he'll find Nettlefold. And they're playing keepings off in basketball. Nettlefold right up towards full forward. Up they go. Over the head of the pack towards Shaw. He goes after it. Close to the boundary line. And he goes down. And he'll get a free kick for a high tackle. Shaw in the last line of defence for Collingwood. Doesn't know he's got the free. Now he does. And it's 76-69. North Melbourne in front. 2 minutes of time on gone the last quarter of the grand final.
Ray Shaw goes for the short kick, finds Hyde, and it's Collingwood's turn to play possession. So 27 minutes gone. There's the hand pass to Betts. Betts comes down through centre half back. He kicks a wonky one. Oh, Gumbleton misses the mark there. Coming through strongly is Eck. Eck gets boot to ball. He puts it wide on the half forward line member side. Thompson lumbers after it. He's got plenty of time. Well, Shepherd gets the hand pass, but it goes to Schimmelbusch. Chipping in there is Barham. He was grabbed without the ball. Falls on top of the football. And umpire John Sutcliffe comes in and says, "I'll bounce it." Oh, what a final. 28 minutes gone last term. Must be only 2 minutes to play. North Melbourne leading by 7 points as umpire John Sutcliffe bounces the ball. There it is. Keenan Thompson. Thompson gets it all hand to Wayne Richardson. He'll get the free kick around the neck. A rather crude tackle there by Nettlefold as Richardson goes back. He can see that time's running out. He wants to get the play going. He kicks it now. A high punt kick going around the member side wing. Barham can't get it. Montgomery comes down, gets it to Schimmelbusch, back to Montgomery, but nicely smothered there. Punches it on nicely by Montgomery to Nettlefold, but Nettlefold undoes the good work, and it's over the line and out of bounds on the full, and a free kick going to Andrew Ireland as Byrne looks across and says it's his free kick, trying to waste time. There's the kick by Picken, I should say. Picken's kick, member side. Up go the pack, down to Wearmouth, who can't break clear of the pack. A scrambling players, Gordon's got it. They all come in on top of him, and it's by ball, says umpire Ian Robinson.
North Melbourne lead by 7 points. 29 minutes gone in the last quarter of the grand final. 76-69. North Melbourne in front. Gumbleton goes up. It's hit down to Schimmelbusch. What a great game he's played. He's put it too far for Byrne. Ireland couldn't hold the mark. A hand pass to Picken. His high kick back to half forward for Collingwood. Who's there? Keenan. 2 bites. He couldn't hold the mark. Grabbed by Henshaw. His kick smothered off the boot. Comes to Ick. He does a beautiful rugby kick along the ground and puts it out of bounds.
They're smart operators.
29 and a half minutes gone in the last quarter of the grand final, and North Melbourne lead by 7 points as Keenan gets it down to Bond. Bond gets it towards Magro. Magro spins around up towards full forward. Moore's a chance to run in and kick a goal. He has. He's missed. No, he has missed. He knew as soon as he kicked it he'd missed. And Moore's tally is 4 goals for. It's a goal, the difference. The Magpies need to score a goal in about 1 minute to draw the match and bring us back here next week. North Melbourne lead by 6 points. Croswell to kick in.
Of course, we had Gott being carried off the stretcher, so there could be a little bit more time.
Only about 5, I'd say, Clark. The ball back towards the centre, Magro and Tanner. It's thumped away. It's grabbed. Is there a free kick to Collingwood? There is. It's going to Hyde. 76-70, and the Magpies are putting the ball forward. They need a goal to draw the match. There's the kick right up to full forward. Moore's up, comes towards Dunn. It's strip basketball on the bottom of the pack. It comes out of the pack. Grabbed by Gumbleton. He gets it out towards Wayne Richardson, close to the boundary line. And it's over. Oh, it's 20 metres from the Collingwood goal, and they trail by 1 goal. There's the throw-in. Ball's in front. Keenan over the top. Down towards Max Richardson. Bond's on the bottom of the pack. They fall on the footy. What are they going to do? Still there. Play on. Cable dangerously kicks the ball out. A chance for Collingwood. No. Yes. Comes across towards Betts. Oh, Collingwood. Was he pushed in the back? No. Casson, was he pushed in the back? No. Oh, bouncing, says Ian Robinson. 31 minutes gone in the last term. 76 to 70. North Melbourne lead by a goal. Umpire Robinson to come in and go for a bounce. There it is. In comes Thompson. Carlton goes up high. Comes out of the pack to Shaw. Shaw gets a hand pass to King. King, what's he going to do? He has a shot for goal. It's offline. Moore goes after it. So does Croswell. Here's a chance. Moore's got it in front of him. What's he going to do? He falls over. Comes out towards Magro. The opportunity gone, and it's another. No! In comes Magro. Left foot snap. Out of bounds on the full.
Oh. 31 minutes gone. 31 minutes gone, grand final. The bell must be ringing shortly for North Melbourne supporters. A little bit more time since the Collingwood supporters.
Well, there can't be much left. They must be very close.
Well, the scoreboard here at the MCG. North Melbourne 9:22.76. Collingwood 9:16.60. There it is on the half-back flank, and a mark there to Picken, who's on the half-forward flank. Oh, he's going back now. Well, he's a defender. Let's see what sort of a kick. It's not a bad one, but it's going to drop well short. Up go the pack. There's a mark. A mark to Collingwood.
Ross Dunn.
Well, he's about 12 metres out and almost directly in front. So, Graham, you were brave enough to nominate a draw. I think we've got to go through these agonies once again. It looks very much like it.
I'm sure we have, Douglas.
No North Melbourne player going for punch then, I noticed. Oh, if ever Twiggy Dunn needs to kick a goal, he's got to kick this one.
Let's tell you that there are 34 players.
Dunn comes in, shoots, and it's through. Scores a level. 2 minutes gone. I think we could be back here. In fact, I'm sure of it. I think our panel engineered this one. They need the money.
Let's check the score in the grand final. Collingwood 76, North Melbourne 76, and the clock shows us we've gone 33 minutes, 32 and a half minutes in the last quarter. The siren must sound. 76 Collingwood, 76 North Melbourne. Scores are level. Scores level in the grand final, 76 points apiece. Serge can't believe it. Murray, you're a great judge. Umpire Sutcliffe's going to bounce it. Couldn't be any time left. They couldn't hear the siren over the crowd noise. In comes umpire Sutcliffe. He bounces the ball. Must be siren time. Thompson gets it. Hey, what happens? It's in towards Gumbleton. Ball still in the centre square. Picked up by Cable. North Melbourne going forward. Shaw had his head pulled off. No free kick. Manassas fumbling. He gets a hand pass away to Betts. Betts kicks the ball short. That's a chance here for Elves. North Melbourne will go back into attack. Elves gets it. Drives it high. Close to the boundary line. There's a couple of North Melbourne players underneath it. And what a great mark.
Picken, I think it could only be him.
Is that Picken or Ireland?
Ireland, perhaps.
Looked like a 4, but still.
That's Ireland for Collingwood. He's taken the mark, and here they go. Bond's got it. And there's a siren for more.
Don't laugh, Kevin Coughlin.
As nominated by Graham Dawson early in that last
And
quarter.
there's a fight going on now with Crackers Keenan and a Collingwood player, of course.
The grand final for 1977. First time round has been drawn. Collingwood 10-16-76. North Melbourne 9-22-76. Gentlemen, keep your tickets. You'll need them next week. 76-76. Don't throw those tickets away, patrons. You might need them next week. We have a draw. We'll all be back here again.
This is Vintage Grandstand on ABC Radio and ABC Grandstand Digital.
The thrilling closing stages of the 1977 VFL drawn grand final. Of course, they came back the following week and North Melbourne prevailed 21-25, 151 to Collingwood 19-10, 124. A man, of course, who featured in that vintage grandstand, Matt Clinch, Al Nicholson and Mark McClure, was Wayne Schimmelbusch, who's been good enough to join us on Grandstand Digital. Wayne, welcome.
It's a pleasure.
What are your memories of The end of the game and the emotions that took place after you slogged your guts out for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, well, it's a long time ago, and it was sort of really a nothing feeling. I don't think any of us knew what to think when the siren went. I think I just popped on the ground and just sort of stared into the sky and thought, well, what do we do now? Are we playing extra time, or we come back next week? What's going on? So it was really sort of a nothing feeling. We were happy that we actually got back into the game and managed to draw a sort of fair way down at 3/4 time, as you know. So we're happy about that, but we were also unhappy that we sort of let the game go after hitting the front.
And such a rollercoaster game to kick 4 goals to 1 in the first quarter, 13 successive behinds, didn't kick a goal in the second or third quarter, and then 5 unanswered goals in the last.
Yeah, we certainly kicked poorly, especially Arnold Bryce, who's normally a fairly reliable kicker. I think 7 points, no goals. So that wasn't really good for us, but it was really... We were really happy to get back into the game. We were probably, we thought we were the better side of the year anyway, so managed to get back in the game. And the thing that really probably won it for us was Barrass's attitude. Barrass was really positive after the game. He sort of took us all in and took our wives and girlfriends in and said, look, just give them to us for 1 more week. We'll have a light week, and we'll really concentrate now of coming back next week and giving it our best shot, and I'm sure we can win it. And all week we had a very light week. We hardly trained at all. Just sort of bit of kick to kick, and just sort of got a chance to refresh it a little bit, because both mentally and physically. And we heard on the grapevine that Collingwood had been Tom Hafey was sort of a bit disappointed that they got run over in the end, and he blamed their fitness, so he ran them into the ground through the week, and we sort of knew from the Thursday night that they were going to be very tired after getting run after a heavy grand final like that, and then getting run into the ground again. So we went in pretty confident that we could get the job done this next week.
So Barrass was a driving force in that area, and I liked the way he grabbed you. We had Ken Montgomery before, Shimmer, and he said that he grabbed the girls and you, and he talked about a lot of stuff about how they're going to get on and win this. It's a positivity thing, really, in a sense. He made you feel positive about yourselves, I think, more than Tommy did, because he would have gone and bashed them. You're not tough enough, you're not fit enough, you're not strong enough. And that hurts.
That's the way Tommy did it, yeah, and that was good for us in the end, and made it a lot easier for us the next week. Collingwood actually come from the bottom of the ladder the year before.
It's extraordinary. That was extraordinary, their lift from the bottom of the ladder. And Tommy had the ability to do that, but he did lose a few finals as well.
Yeah, I know he did.
Wayne Schimmelbusch is with us on Vintage Grandstand. Wayne, you talk about Collingwood going from last to making the grand final, but even within that season, yourself, North Melbourne, 15 wins, 7 losses, finished third on the ladder, beaten convincingly in the first final by Hawthorn by 38 points in that qualifying final, and that was after you were overrun in the last round of the season by South Melbourne. How on earth did you turn it around in the prelim? You beat Richmond by 47 in the semi, got another crack at Hawthorn in the preliminary final after losing by 38 to them. You thrashed them by 67 points. That's a massive turnaround, over a 100-point turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, it was really up to Brass again. I mean, Brass was, he could be very aggressive and very hard on you, and he didn't obviously enjoy the way we lost the last game of the season in the Swans. So it was a thrashing, really, and then the first final was a thrashing. So he decided that we needed a bit of competitive work, so he just sort of, on the night after we lost to Hawthorn, he just gave us all this really man-on-man stuff. You know, that'd be like Silas, like just kick the ball out and you just go and fight for it, tooth and nail, and get it back to him. Well, he did that all night, and I think one of the things he did was he put my brother on me on that one-on-one stuff. and he knew that we were both really, really competitive beasts. And he just made an example for everybody, but he just kept kicking us back, and we were both exhausted at the end of it. And in fact, I broke Darryl's leg on that night. I tackled him and threw him to the ground, and he broke his leg. So he was hoping to get a game throughout the final series, but he broke his leg, and that was the end of his season. But it was sort of the example of fighting tooth and nail, and then he chose a couple of those typical sports movies where people come from behind and get up and win. And got it, and started being positive again from then. And we just seemed to gel with us, and we knew we were a pretty good side. We had a pretty talented sort of side, so it was just a matter of getting focused back towards what we did best, and the whole thing turned around.
Shimmer, what did you actually learn from Brass? You're under him for a fair while. There's a couple of little points in your life that you would have, footy's sometimes a bit like like work and business and life and everything else. So what did you learn from Brass that you probably didn't know before?
Oh, probably about the professionalism. I mean, I'd come from the VFA. My first night at North Melbourne was the first night of Ron Barassi and Barry Davis and John Rantel and Doug Wade. That was my first experience of sort of league football at Brunswick. And even on the first night, we all ran down to training and everybody was given their boots to the boot started to carry down to Rostrel Field where we trained down in Flemington somewhere it was. And we get down there, we have to put our boots on straight away. And I sort of believe that you're playing boots, you're training boots. This is in early January, I might add, and sticking hot day. And so my boots didn't arrive. The boots started to go, I'm left them back. He'd never even met me, Ron. He never ever said a word in his life to me at that stage. Well, he bawled me out in front of the whole 120 people at training about being unprofessional is not good enough. I'm shrinking. But from then on, the boots started. I got my boots again. It was a lesson about being professional, about you look after your own gear, your own equipment, and look after the way you train. It's all up to you. He can point you in the right direction. Other people can point in the right direction, but it's up to you to actually carry out the instructions and do it yourself. So that was sort of the best lesson I actually got that very first night.
I bet you weren't the only one. He gave away plenty of them to lots of people,
I know. And some people reacted well to it, and some people didn't.
And they didn't, and that's the way it works. But the whole thing about it is that he picked on the big boys too. He didn't muck around with the little blokes.
Oh yeah, all the way through my whole 9 years with him, he didn't pick on the blokes that were giving their all and just didn't have the talent to do any better. He always picked on the blokes that he knew had plenty of talent and could do better. And that's the way he got the best out of some people.
Wayne, going on to win that VFL Grand Final in 1977, what was the difference between that 75 team and 77?
Well, there were different players, actually, in the end. The blokes who didn't play in 75 was Xavier Tanner and those sort of blokes. And they were good blokes. Johnny Burns was a good player. Johnny Byrne, rather than Johnny Burns. Johnny Burns played in 75, obviously. But Johnny Byrne was a good player.
Keith Gregg played in 75 and missed in 77.
Missed 77 with a knee. I think Phil Baker played in 77 and didn't play in 75. So there was quite a bit of difference. But we still had fairly good talent over the whole ground.
He had a massive game, Baker, didn't he? The 2 games were massive for him.
Both games.
Fantastic.
It's funny, I mean, they talk about his final performance in those 2 games. I think he played full forward nearly every game for the year, and he only kicked about 20-odd goals. Had 8 or 9 of them in the grand final, so he had 2 massive days, as you know. But he could mark on his day, Phil. He was very good in that area, and he certainly helped us win that grand final.
So what about your role in that 1977 season? Because you were the leading goal kicker the year before with 40-odd goals, and then you moved more in the midfield the following year.
I thought my first 3 years I was actually on half-forward flank permanently, which is one of those places you... if you're a reasonable side, you get enough opportunity. There's a lot of weeks you don't get much of an opportunity. And then in 70, actually, I went on the wing in 77. I think I played in the 77 grand final on Rocketee. 76.
76.
Yeah, 76 grand final on Rocketee. So the next year I stayed on the wing and played the whole season. I missed. I just got dropped that year. Halfway through the season, the big man dropped at the end of the seconds for 1 week to make a lesson of somebody.
He was pretty good at pointing the finger, wasn't he?
So back I went to play 1 game in the second. Yeah. And then John Caston, he played every game that season, 27. Yeah, it's a record for the most games in one season. Because we played from 74 right through to 78, we played in 4 or 5 finals every year. Just the way we won, ones we won and the ones we lost. So then I played in 26 finals in 5 years.
Yeah, I think you held the record for 29 finals, didn't you?
At one stage, I went past. I think some of the Hawthorn blokes went past. Tucky, Glenn Matthews.
He's got about 50, Tucky.
This is, one of North Melbourne's finest periods in its history during the 70s here that you're part of. Wayne, can you share with us what the environment was like around the club? We know so much about and have heard about the history of the Shinboners spirit, but how prevalent was it, and can you define exactly what it was?
Well, mate, it's hard to say really, because I wasn't there back in 72, 71 where they didn't win. I think they won 1 game in 2 years. And they go out there trying, and they didn't have much of a side, obviously. And then when Brass got there, it was more Alan Ayler and the board. committee, where they used to call them in those days. They sort of set about making use of the 10-year rule. And then obviously got Brass on board to sort of gel us all together. Barry Cable came back the following year, and Malcolm Blight came the next year. So and they kept recruiting interstaters. So they certainly put a good side together. And it was more the enthusiasm of Al Naylett, and obviously Barras, who basically turned us into a professional unit rather than somebody just went out every week expecting to lose. We, in the end, went out expecting to win. So even if we knew we were down 5 goals at three-quarter time and we're playing against a side that, we didn't expect to beat us, we knew what would happen in the last quarter, and it's just what happened. It was because of the way that Brassy instilled it all in us.
Shimmer, did you get one of those paper bags as well?
No, I come from Brunswick.
There was a few handed around.
I did get a little bit of money signing on. I did get a little bit of money to sign on, which is what most people didn't get. Well, I got a little bit to sign on. I think Carlton were trying to get me across to go to Carlton.
Yeah, they don't give any money there.
No.
So what would a player have been earning in those days, Shimmer?
Oh, that's another story. I was getting $34 a game, which is what the Coulter law, I think it was called, said. You got in your first season up to 50 games. So I played my first season, 22 games it was, for $34 a game. In the second season, I played $34 a game. We played 26 games. You want to play 26 by 34. It comes to $800 for the whole season, just over $800, including the grand final when it's 110,000 people there.
$34 for winning a premiership.
That's what you get.
$34.
That's exactly what it was.
Imagine players playing for that nowadays.
800. They're talking about a different sort of 800, I think, these days, Wayne, aren't they?
They don't know the kick.
I'm sure it rose from there, Shimmer.
Oh, it started to rise, yeah. I think by the time I finished 15, 16 years later, it still wasn't great compared to what it is nowadays, but it was a lot better, yeah.
Let me tell you, what a great apprenticeship you had, though. You know what I mean, in life.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what football clubs do to you, Mark. You learn how to live with the highs and the lows, and you have a lot of highs and you have a lot of lows, and you learn to stay pretty grounded throughout all so you can carry on.
Yeah, Good on you, Wayne. Thanks very much for sharing some memories with us, and congratulations.
Okay, thanks a lot for having me.
Wayne Schimmelbusch joining us on Vintage Grandstand. Matt Clinch, Al Nicholson and Mark McClure, the 1977 drawn VFL Grand Final. Great to have some of your correspondence as well. Andy Bell has been right onto us. Al, this is so good, what a call. Can we keep getting great archives after COVID, please? He wants to nominate Fitzroy's last victory, so we might have to find some games
when was that?
In the archives.
96.
So we know what we're doing next week? We'll sort that out. Corbin and Ben coming up next.